we welcome you to a very special episode of Voice Acting. It is night 2 of the season finale of season 13 of the Apollo Justice Trilogy. This is the conclusion of Turnabout Time Traveler.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Steel Twins recording studio in the cherry capital of the world, Traverse City, Michigan. Introducing your hosts, the Cannonball, the Cannon, the Steel Twins.
What's up, everybody? It's a very special edition of Sunday night, and you know what that means.
It's a special edition of Voice Acting Night, baby.
I thought it was football. Now, that is true. That is true. We are taking a bit of a risk for posting this on or around Sunday Night Football, but I feel that we have a good chance of hooking in an audience, if not tonight, then after the fact in the archives. And we really want to get this episode, we really want to get this series over and done with. I'm just going to come out flat and say it. Not that we haven't enjoyed it. We've really enjoyed doing this.
Yes, sir.
But it's finally time to close the book. It's finally time to turn the page. It's finally time to put an end to this once and for all.
And once we do, tune in this Saturday on our regularly scheduled day and time, for our next project will be the Ace Attorney Investigations Collection.
Absolutely.
Can't get enough of Miles Edgeworth? Don't worry, there's plenty of him to go around.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to having you join us for that. Plus, all your Nostalgic Monday, your Legend of Zelda Tuesday, your Wednesday night fights, all the regularly scheduled content will be rocking and raring to go. And of course, any suggestions you may have, please send them to us.
Yes, we are taking requests even as we speak. And speaking of which, I have actually posted a question earlier today that about whether or not I should continue the weekly schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which I did. Should I keep this going, or do you think I should take it easy for a little bit and not stream on a couple of days?
And that may be a decision that's made, on our side of the field. Who knows? But any feedback you want to give us, we're listening.
But remember, those are time permitting, by the way.
Yes, time permitting.
And next week obviously is Thanksgiving week. It's the holiday, so we're definitely not streaming on Thanksgiving Day. We want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving ahead of time. But I'm going to go ahead and keep this going. And for instance, tomorrow I am going to be streaming a game called Jet Force Gemini.
Ooh.
Mature audiences only. What if we're not mature?
Well, just not for children.
Hey, Alex Michael, thank you so much for liking the stream, my man. Well,
that's up to your interpretation.
According to me, they would have to be like under 18 years old. That was my definition of,
That was a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah.
Our good buddy Chris Lampson's on the stream, so it's so glad to see ya.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, mature is a relative term.
Yes, of course.
We just have some saucy language from time to time. So
hero.
Yeah, and hero. So I think it's just about that time. If you have a cap on your bottle, if you have a pin on your drink, you go ahead and pull that pin back or twist that cap off
with a twisty twist.
Hey, package, what time is it?
It's time to get bombed.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Down go the Chiefs.
Yes.
And down goes my fantasy team by less than 0.2 points.
Ugh.
Dick. Anyway.
Well, that hit the spot anyways. Mm-hmm. Live scene.
Yes, indeed.
Chris Lampson, I've yet to ask you, should I keep this daily streaming schedule going, or do you think I should take it easy for a little bit?
And again,
I do Nostalgic Monday, Legend of Zelda Tuesday, Wednesday Night Fights, Hot Off the Press Thursdays, Super Mario Friday, and of course voice acting Saturdays.
Yep.
Monday through Fridays. Okay, the Tuesday through Friday streams are exclusively on Facebook and Twitch.
Ooh, that's a good point.
You can definitely catch Nostalgic Monday on YouTube as well.
Yep.
But yeah, all the streams are on Facebook and Twitch. But the only streams that are available for YouTube are voice acting and Nostalgic Monday, even as we speak. But let us know if you want to see all those streams on YouTube, or whatever the case may be. Feedback at any given time is appreciated.
Talk to us, people. We want to know what's going on. So
we want to know how to get better.
Yeah, and I just want to know how to get to the end of this case, because apparently the time travel theory has been completely dashed. But we have to investigate this matter further. So let's dig into it. Let's get it going. This is the conclusion of Turnabout Time Traveler.
Lock 'em and load 'em, ladies. It's go time. Alrighty, here we go.
September 22nd, 1:48 p.m. Wright Anything Agency.
What? So the whole time traveling thing was just a ruse put up by the guests at the reception?
Looks like it. I knew there had to be some kind of trick to it.
Wow, 2 wedding receptions. Can you imagine? I wonder how much that must have cost them.
I have no idea. But if you have to ask, you're not rich enough to want to know. Still, if you got the money, it's a pretty good way to cover things up, if you ask me.
Got that right. I'm sure I would have been completely fooled.
Hi, I'm back.
Hey, Maya, are you all set to go?
Yup. Ready when you are. So, what should we start with?
Let's start with reviewing what we learned at the trial.
Alright,
What Ellen thought was time travel was really just a performance put on by the Sprockets. But other than that, it seems that what Ellen told us was actually all true.
So what really matters right now is the identity of the mystery person Ellen said she saw while she was being attacked.
So who is this mystery person?
That's the million-dollar question, I'm afraid. But if we want to clear Ellen of any suspicion, then figuring out who they are is key.
I think I'll take toilets for $200 instead, Mr. Wright.
Well, at least there were only so many people on that airship that night. And we know who the mastermind of the whole cover-up plot was, too. So that's good.
You mean the groom, Soren Sprocket, right?
Exactly. He might know something that could help us out.
So
then, what am I doing here?
what am I doing here? I'm a very busy man, you know.
Well, all the other people involved are Soren's family members. So I thought I'd better start by interviewing you. Even if I probably shouldn't trust a word out of your mouth.
Oh man, I have a really tight schedule, but oh heck, what are friends for, right? Okay, pal, go ahead. Ask me anything.
Oh, Jesus. You do remember it was you who came to me for help in the first place, right?
All right, let's talk to him.
Oh
Yes,
my
sir.
gosh. I want to go over exactly what happened when before I step outside this office again. Since you were there, Larry, do you think you could help me get it all straight in my head?
If I gotta.
Okay, so the first reception was held at 7 p.m. on the day of the incident. That's the one you tried to crash, right?
Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. And then they locked me up in a cabin. It was awful, I tell you.
Too bad we're not here to focus on you, Larry. And then the incident occurred after this first reception at around 10 p.m. Ellen was attacked in the reception hall by Gloomsbury. He forced her out onto the Vista Deck and was just about to kill her.
But Ellie fought back and ended up killing old Gloomsbury instead. To cover it up, the family quickly threw together a second reception. That's what Edgy is claiming anyway. But I know my Ellie didn't do it.
The key point here is the mystery person Ellen said she saw strike Gloomsbury just before she passed out. Did you see anybody suspicious skulking around that day?
Nope, not a soul. Because I was locked up in a cabin at the time.
But you managed to escape and sneak back into the reception hall. That's when you switched the lantern in the event hall with the lantern in the hold, right? Did you see anybody then?
Nope, the place was completely deserted. Guess because that Pierce Butler guy had everybody gathered together somewhere.
That makes sense. He must have been going over the cover-up plan with them. So clearly, the murder had already happened by the time Larry got out. They must have gotten everything ready fast and had the second reception soon after that.
Then after that second reception, Ellie went to clean up the reception hall. And as luck would have it, that's when she found the body and the lantern I brought up. I tried to do something nice for Ellie out of the goodness of my heart, and this happened.
We still don't know exactly what happened during the actual murder itself. We'll just have to look into it, along with the identity of that mystery person.
In cabin.
So while the murder was taking place, you were locked up in a cabin. Did you see anything unusual while you were in there?
In the cabin? Let's see. Well, there was that pterodactyl flying through the sky. That's pretty unusual.
All right, that drawing of that pterodactyl you saw.
What's with all the air quotes? I really did see it, I swear.
Larry, the time travel thing never actually happened, which means you couldn't have seen a real pterodactyl flying through the sky.
Oh, are you doubting the eye of a super popular picture book author?
No, I'm just sure you saw something else and mistook that for a flying reptile.
Nick, you're making me doubt my own eyes. No, I'm not even sure what I saw.
Larry's drawing updated in the court record.
Drawing Larry made, he probably mistook something for what he claims is a pterodactyl in this picture.
No, I know exactly what it is. We were talking about it yesterday.
Last night, yes.
Last night.
Yesterday, yes.
Either way, you have no idea what actually happened at the real scene of the murder?
That's right, and I can say that with every confidence. Oh wow, would you look at the time? I better go. I have a book signing to get to.
A book signing? Whose book?
Whose do you think? It's mine, of course. It's a Louise Stoneham book signing.
I bet you went around and begged a bunch of bookstores to let you do one.
Of course not. They're the ones coming around to beg me.
Looks like I guessed right.
Anyway, I have to go. I'll send you 10 copies of my new book that just got released the other day, all right?
10? That's very generous of you.
What are you talking about? I'm gonna send you the bill too, of course. Just put it down as office expenses or something. We'll see ya. Well, see ya.
Wait, Larry, we don't need... he's gone.
I'll take a copy, boss. Oh, and make sure it's signed.
Oh boy. Trucy's not gonna like this office expense.
There goes our first lead. What do you want to tackle next, Nick?
Right, we should really hit the streets now, huh? How about we go see Ellen?
Sounds good, boss. I bet I can cheer her up.
I thought you were gonna help Trucy with her magic show again today, Athena. Weren't you supposed to go meet her right about now? Trucy said she was going to practice her new trick on you, if I recall.
On me? Really?
Trucy's show is an important source of income from our agency, you know. You can leave the case to us, so you go ahead and run along now.
But boss...
Off you go, Athena.
No! I don't want to die!
We'd better get going too, Maya.
Okay. Ugh.
Oh,
Poor
boy.
Athena. I really wanted her to help.
Any ideas? Why the long face, Maya?
I can't believe time travel isn't real after all.
I see.
I thought I'd get back I thought I'd get to go back in time and see real dinosaurs and ninjas and stuff.
Yeah, too bad, huh? I couldn't be more relieved, personally. What to do? So, what should we do?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, shouldn't we just keep investigating stuff or something? Oop.
She's really lost that spark. Ever since I proved that time traveling wasn't real in court today. Okay, so we're gonna go to the detention center. Let's go talk to Ellen. September 22nd, detention center, visitor's room.
Oh, my poor sweet Soren. I wonder how he's getting along without me.
Hello, Ellen.
Oh, Mr. Wright. What's going to happen with the trial, do you think?
Well, first and foremost, we have to hurry up and find this mystery person you saw just before you passed out.
Do you think that person could be the real killer?
It's quite possible, and if we can prove that, we can clear you of all charges. Actually, would you happen to know where Soren is right now?
He's usually busy with meetings all afternoon, but he should be home by evening.
I think I'd better go have a chat with him later then. Why am I being treated to a view of someone's underwear?
Mr. Wright, don't tell me. You suspect my sweet Soren?
Well, he is the one who masterminded the second reception after the time skip, so I thought he might be able to tell us something.
How could you, Mr. Wright? You can't possibly think. My son would never kill anyone.
All right, just calm down.
No, not if you're accusing my Soren.
Please, I'm not accusing anybody. So please put the pan and ladle down, all right?
Really?
Cross my heart. So for now, would you mind if I ask you a few more things about the case? I'd better be careful not to provoke her.
All right, let's talk to her. Soren.
Could you tell me about Soren?
There's nothing to tell. He's squeaky clean.
All right, okay. Maybe I should avoid the topic of Soren right now. Let's talk about something else then.
Fine, but you won't hear a peep out of me about Soren.
Talk about pulling teeth.
Here's Nichody.
Could you tell me about Pierce Nichody then?
Pierce? He came to Sprocket Manor about a year ago. As the family butler, he's now in charge of everything in the household.
Only a year ago? Did he have some kind of special connection with the family?
I'm just a maid, so I'm not privy to such things, I'm afraid.
It might have been Soren's order, but Pierce is the one who coordinated the whole thing. He's the one who really orchestrated the grand time travel farce. He must have quite a bit of authority in that family. But no matter how good he is at his job, how could anybody gain that much influence in a single year?
I really don't know. I mean, he is an excellent butler. Wouldn't that explain it?
Like I said, what if he's got something on Soren? What if he's responsible for his sister's death? Or is promising to bring her back from the dead? I don't know. Is it really as simple as that?
Time travel.
What you thought was time travel was really just a cover-up carried out by your in-laws. Pierce said that Soren was the one who ordered the whole thing.
I still can't believe it. Even if the second reception was fake. Soren would never use time travel for something like that. He's very serious about his time machine research, you know.
I heard there's a reason he's researching time machines, actually. Let me do that again. I heard there's a reason he's researching time machines, actually. Something about something he wishes he could change. But isn't the whole idea of traveling back in time itself a little fantastic?
I don't think so. After all, Soren said real-time travelers do exist.
Really now? You think he knows someone who actually traveled through time?
That's right. I haven't seen it personally, but Soren said as much, so I believe it.
Somebody who actually traveled through time, huh? It's pretty hard to believe. Thank you, Ellen.
You're going out to do your investigation now, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
Please make sure you don't cause Soren any trouble, okay?
I'm afraid I can't promise you that.
What?
Oh boy.
Please, whatever you do, please don't upset my poor Soren any further. I'm begging you.
I'll do my best not to cause him any unnecessary trouble.
Oh, I couldn't bear it if Soren ever came under suspicion. I'd rather be found guilty myself.
Yikes! Helen, please, don't work yourself up like this. You don't want Soren to worry, do you?
No, you're right.
And the floodwaters recede once more.
So what do we do now, Nick?
Well, Ellen said Soren is usually in meetings until the evening, so let's save our house call until then. Why don't we go to the mooring dock and figure out our next move from there?
Roger, Nick. All right, let's go. More duck. Oops. No, not the foyer.
It juked me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, more duck.
Charge!
September 22nd, Sprocket Park, mooring dock.
Well, look, there's the pterodactyl right there.
Yep.
So, where should we start?
Let's see. Are there any places we haven't examined yet? We already investigated the reception hall and Sprocket Manor.
I know. We haven't looked at the Vista Deck or the hold yet.
Hey, you're right. We still got some pretty important places left to examine, don't we? The Vista Deck is the actual scene of the murder, right?
And the lantern with the body in it was stored in the hold. I think there's a good chance we'll find some important clues in those locations.
Do we know how to get to the hold?
Good question. I think it was labeled in a diagram of the airship in this pamphlet.
There it is.
Ding, ding, ding. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
All right, let's get to the hold, I guess.
Before I do that, I want to look at this.
It's already
Oh, it's checked off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. All right. It's so painfully obvious.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'll come up, sure. September 22nd, Flying Chapel, hold. So this is the hold. This is where Pierce orchestrated the whole cover-up operation. We better go over this place with a fine-tooth comb.
Hey, Nick, weren't we supposed to need a key card to get in here?
Huh? You're right. I wonder why it was unlocked.
Oh, boy.
How's it going, Mr. Wright?
How's it going, Mr. Wright?
Emma, what are you doing here?
Just a little independent investigating for my own sake. You gotta keep the mind sharp.
So the door security system is turned off for the police investigation.
We'd like to investigate the hold ourselves. Would that be all right?
Yeah, sure. The police just finished their examination anyway.
Thanks. We'll just take a quick look around then.
Oh, right. You should know that the floor doubles as a huge lift. You can use that lever way back there to raise it up to the Vista Deck. The police inspected it already, but didn't find anything of particular interest, it seems. If you do go out to the Vista Deck with the lift, be careful not to fall off.
Got it. Thanks.
That goes double for you, Maya.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, let's get this show on the road.
All right, let's
Let's talk to her first.
yes.
The incident. Any progress with your investigation?
Nothing conclusive yet, I'm afraid. Almost everybody was involved with the cover-up, so it's hard to know who or what to believe.
I know what you mean.
Unless you have some compelling evidence, I'm afraid it's going to be a tough trial for you.
You're telling me. There isn't much time left, so I've just got to make do and see what I can turn up.
All right, let's examine things. Remember, examine
here's-
this with a fine-tooth comb.
Well,
Every
here's the-
nook and cranny. These are the flowers we saw in Larry's photo.
The petals make them look like little gears. The perfect flower for the sprocket family, huh? Maybe they were gonna shower the couple with the petals.
You mean kind of like how people throw rice or confetti?
Yeah, like that. Only these were found at the scene of a murder instead. What's this? These must be the dishes and glasses they use for receptions. Very fancy. I bet we'd be in big trouble if we broke any of them.
Ooh, I want to see, Nick.
You, young lady, need to stay far, far away from them.
Nick, you think I'm gonna break them, don't you?
Let's just say your rap sheet for breaking things doesn't help your case.
What's this?
What is that? So this is the airship's engine. It's pretty impressive.
And it's all rhythmic like a heartbeat. It's the literal heart of the flying chapel. Look at all those huge gears spinning around and around and around and around and around. I think I'm starting to get dizzy.
Yeah, me too.
Grr. Ooh, it's a cake, Nick. A cake. It's so big they wouldn't miss one little piece, would they?
If you're that in the mood for a mouthful of styrofoam, sure, knock yourself out.
You mean it's not real? Well, it sure fooled me. I'm so ready to have some that I'm really craving cake now. Come on, Nick, let's go get some.
Maybe after the trial is over.
How unbearable.
Huh? It looks like there are some fingerprints on this candelabra.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just got done dusting that. I was able to pull a set of left-hand prints.
Do you know whose prints they are?
Yes, the prints belong to the victim, Dumas Gloomsbury.
Nick, I just figured out something amazing.
You did?
Get this. If the fingerprints on the candelabra were from his left hand, then Mr. Doomagloom must have been left-handed. What do you think of that? Do I have the makings of a great detective or what?
Actually, that's more important than you think, because the writing is smudged as though written by a right-handed person. See? You're a real silly Sally if you thought that deduction was in any way encyclopedic.
Hey, you're pretty good, Maya. I looked into it myself, and sure enough, the victim really was left-handed.
Really? I got it right? Awesome.
Good for you, Maya.
Good for you? That's all you gotta say?
I think you did a real great job, Maya. Way to go. I guess one can never have too much info.
Now you're talking.
But come to think of it, this candelabra isn't in the photo Larry took of the hold, is it?
That picture was taken when they were getting ready for the first reception, right? The candelabra must have been brought in here sometime after that then.
It's still possible it has something to do with the incident, though. I'd better add it to the evidence file just in case. Candelabra added to the court record.
Candelabra from the hole bearing fingerprints of Gloomsbury's left hand, which is his dominant hand.
So he wasn't the one that wrote the note.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Wright, you can have this fingerprint powder if you like.
You're giving this to us?
Sure. I have 4 other sets.
Thanks. I feel like there's something more to the candelabra, but I can't put my finger on it. Is there blood stains on it? I can't look at it
No,
right
I don't
now.
think so.
What's that? A wedding bell?
According to the pamphlet, it's used on the Vista Deck during wedding ceremonies to bless the newlyweds.
I guess they did disassemble and store it away here in the hole and it's not being used.
Okay, what about those bulls?
Yep.
Those moos? Oh, the pegamoos.
They're both pegamoos. So there are two male peggable lanterns in the reception hall. That must mean that these two are female peg-a-cow lanterns.
Larry got their sexes mixed up when he replaced the one in the reception hall, huh? Didn't he see the horns? The difference is pretty glaring if you ask me.
And yet he managed not to notice. That's what makes Larry, Larry. Larry being Larry is why I've seen more than my fair share of trouble for a lifetime.
Oh, Mr. Wright? You know that lantern the victim was found inside of in the reception hall? I'm just about to go piece it back together so the police can examine it.
Oh, okay. We'll stop by for a look too, once you're done fixing it.
All right then, what about that plane? Ooh, look Nick, it's an airplane.
I wonder if Soren built that one too.
Hey, why don't we take it for a spin? Just a quick tour around the neighborhood.
And who do you propose is gonna pilot that wooden death trap?
Me, of course. Who else? Don't worry, I've seen people fly airplanes on TV plenty of times.
I think I'll pass. I've still got my whole life ahead of me.
Now that lift.
Yeah. Oh, look. There's the lever to the lift Emma told us about.
Let's try going up on it. I'll go flip the switch. Here goes nothing.
Wait, I'm not even on it yet.
What the hell?
Oh. There's blood. Hey, Maya, stop the lift.
Whoops, sorry. Got a little carried away.
Never mind that. Move over a little.
Okay.
Is that blood?
Blood? Let me see.
Could it be Mr. Gloomsbury's blood?
Well, this lift goes up to the Vista Deck where the murder took place, so I think that's the most logical conclusion.
But I thought the victim was clubbed to death and that there wasn't much blood. Something tells me I'd better take a picture of this. Lift bloodstain added to the court record.
Bloodstain that was found on the side of the lift to the hold. It's unknown whose blood it is.
I should ask Emma about it some more later. Maya, can you bring the lift back down now?
You got it. I'll go flip the switch again. There. I have never seen this.
Oh, I did not see that coming.
Me neither. Done.
I want to find out some more about that bloodstain. For now, I guess we should go up to the Vista Deck and take a look around the actual crime scene for ourselves.
The view must be great from up there. I bet it'd be awesome.
You mean it would be if it wasn't the scene of a murder?
Okay, to the Vista Deck we go. Make sure you actually get on the lift this time, Nick.
I know.
Okay, I'll just flip the switch again, and away we go. Wow, look at the gorgeous view.
So this is where Ellen was attacked and Mr. Gloomsbury was killed. Yeesh, one wrong step and it's kersplat on the ground below.
Should we go investigate the stuff that's a little closer to the edge?
Well, I don't see much of anything over there. The police investigation didn't turn up any clues either. So, maybe we don't need to.
Oh, I get it. You're scared, aren't you, Nick?
Oh, of course not. Come on, let's go back down and finish checking out the hold.
Okay, so...
There's something else.
All right, so let's talk to her. Try talking to Emma or something. The candelabra.
Emma, can we check out this candelabra a little more?
A little more? What are you... Oops!
Well, what happened?
I almost dropped the candelabra, and the candle slipped off.
Hey, Look at that.
Ooh,
There's a tip missing.
Oh.
Well, let's be careful with that. It might be important evidence.
Wait a minute.
Now what?
One of the pins that hold the candles is broken.
What?
There's definitely something fishy about this candelabra.
There is? What makes you say that?
Call it forensic investigators' intuition. We already dusted this for prints earlier, so let's test it with luminol this time.
Knowing Emma, she'd use every test she has at the same time if she could.
Just hang on. This will only take a second.
I hope this turns up a new lead somehow. Well, Emma, did you find anything?
Take a look at this, Mr. Wright.
Whoa.
What is all that blood doing on there? Candelabra updated in the court record.
Traces of blood were found on it.
Maybe somebody got hurt while they were setting up for the reception. These pins are pretty sharp.
But if one of the pins is broken, it means there was some force involved. Do you think maybe somebody got stabbed?
Mr. Gloomsbury's hand, remember?
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's where that blood stain came from.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet. Well, we got to find out whose blood it is. But I'll tell you what, that's a good idea.
Gotta be the victim's blood.
But nobody reported anything like that.
That's quite a bit of blood. I wonder whose it is. If I have anything that might shed some light on that, I should probably show it to Emma.
All right, let's see.
Oh, you got to present it.
Yeah, present it.
Emma, about this bloodstain, doesn't something about it strike you as odd?
What's so odd about the victim's blood?
That's not exactly. There's just something about it that bothers me.
Now that you mention it, I can't say I necessarily disagree with you.
Maybe I should talk about this some more with her.
Yep, blood stain.
About this bloodstain.
What about it?
There's something about it that's been bothering me.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Well, there's a huge bloodstain on the crime scene lift and a bloodstained candelabra. Now, this is only a guess, but maybe these two bloodstains are from the same source. I'm thinking maybe these two bloodstains are from the same source.
I guess that is a possibility.
Can we compare the two bloodstains? Would that take a lot of time?
Are you kidding? Don't underestimate the power of science. It'll be done in a jiffy. And the results are in. That didn't take long now, did it? It seems that the blood from the lift and candelabra are from the same person.
Lift bloodstain updated in the court record.
That's the blood in the candelabra.
Candelabra updated in the court record.
Same with the same blood found on the lift.
Well, the victim was clubbed to death and there wasn't all that much blood.
But if this isn't Mr. Gloomsbury's blood...
Well, this is just a guess, but what if Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed somebody with the candelabra pin? That would explain both the huge bloodstain on the lift and the blood on the candelabra.
Oh my goodness! If that's true, then that means there was somebody else present at the scene of the murder!
It does, doesn't it? This just might substantiate Ellen's statement about a third person. Emma, could you have this blood analyzed?
Sure thing.
Mysterious bloodstain on a candelabra with the victim's prints on it. This just might be the thing to back up Ellen's memory of seeing a third person. Next up, the reception hall. Might be worth taking another look around in there.
The reception hall? The forensics team is in there investigating right now.
Oh, they are?
Well, we don't have time to just sit around, so let's go check out something else.
Good idea. We could go question some people. Especially Soren. I have quite a few questions for that guy.
Sounds good, Nick.
I'll have to do some legwork then?
Yep, I thought we'd head to Soren's house for starters.
He was accompanying the police on their investigation here earlier, but he's probably home by now.
Great. Thanks. Later, Emma.
All right, let's go.
Okay, how much you want to bet that Soren was trying to defend his wife, and that's where, he was the one that got cut. But, we would see something. Well, let's go. Foyer.
September 22nd, Sprocket Manor, foyer. I still can't get over how gorgeous Sprocket Manor is.
Just don't touch anything.
I wasn't going to.
She was definitely going to.
I was told I had guests.
This could be Soren. I was told I had guests. Thank you for seeing us, Soren. We know you're busy. We'd like to ask you a few questions about the case, if you wouldn't mind. Soren? You're Ellen's lawyer, right? Huh? Yes, that's right. Don't tell me he doesn't remember me. Will Ellen be found guilty? We're doing everything we can to prevent that. That's why we're here, investigating. Will you please tell us what you know? Soren? All right, fine. What was that pause all about?
Let's talk to him.
Jesus Christ, okay. It was you who gave the order for that large-scale cover-up plan, isn't that right? What's large-scale cover-up?
Don't play dumb with us. You held 2 wedding receptions in order to try and cover up Mr. Gloomsbury's murder.
Ellen thought that through the power of the timekeeper you built, she traveled back in time. Ah, so that's why there were 2 receptions. Wait, does he seriously not know why the reception was held twice? I'm telling you, it's the butler's idea. Looks like I'll have to delve deeper here.
Time travel.
So the cover-up scheme, that fake trip through time. You were not the one who was behind it all? Pierce Nichody stated in court that you were the one who ordered it to be carried out. Pierce said that. I see. I leave him in charge of everything around me. So whatever he decides is, in essence, my decision too. So I take it that you didn't know anything about the cover-up. That's none of your business. But you were in 2 wedding receptions in a row, and still you claim to know nothing? I have nothing more to say to you. Please leave. But Soren! Jesus. Ow!
Oh, there's something written on this paper airplane. Let's see. Go away.
It doesn't get clearer than that, huh? He's looking especially uncooperative, but maybe I can grab his attention somehow. There's still that one piece of evidence I don't know much about. It's worth a try.
Maybe the candelabra. Remember that?
Could be. Soren, have you ever seen this before? That's... Soren, what is it? Nothing. Why did his whole demeanor change all of a sudden? He's gone pale as a ghost, too. Dude, Soren!
Nick, look at his stomach. He's bleeding.
Somebody help! Soren's collapsed!
Uh-oh.
Master Soren!
Get him to the hospital, quickly, now!
What the shit?
So Soren was stabbed, wasn't it? Poor Soren. There must be one serious wound. What is it, Nick?
Well, when I showed him the candelabra, his whole demeanor changed. So I was just thinking that maybe his injury is...
Huh? What's this?
It's Soren's notebook. He must have dropped it in the rush to get him to the hospital.
Ooh, his notebook, huh? I wonder what's written in it. Don't you? Come on, you know you want to take a peek.
Soren's notebook. What to do? My moral compass tells me to not look. What does story mode tell us?
Don't look.
I really don't think we should.
But it might have some really important information in it.
Yes, that's quite possible, but still. Well, I guess it is for Ellen's sake at the end of the day. I feel guilty snooping around in somebody's personal notebook, but maybe we should take a little look-see. Whoa! It's filled with big words written in tiny letters. Guess he uses this notebook to write down his invention ideas. He's looking through it anyway. Huh?
What is it? Did you find something?
After March 8th of last year, the content of this notebook changes dramatically.
Like how?
Well, ever since that date, Soren's been writing down every detail of his life. As in every.
Maybe he decided to start keeping a diary?
But this is way too detailed to be an ordinary diary.
Either he's really compulsive, or maybe just plain forgetful.
But is it really as simple as that? I feel like something happened on March 8th that made Soren change.
Well, why don't you let me take a look at that, and I'll tell you.
Hey, Maya, let go or we'll rip it.
Ah! Now look what you did! You dropped it! You should have just let me take a look!
How is this my fault?
Oh no! Nick!
It fell into that pool of Soren's blood. I can't read a thing on these 2 pages now.
Uh-oh. You're gonna get it now.
Guess it really is my fault after all. Let's just put it away carefully for now. We can't let anything else happen to it, you hear? Soren's notebook added to the court record.
Database-like notebook that chronicles the events of each day in minute detail. Huh? Hey, look! There's something sticking out of the notebook. It looks like a newspaper article.
Let's see. It's about the car accident Soren's sister died in. It happened on March 8th. That's the day Soren's notebook completely changed. Oh, wow!
What else does it say?
It says the driver at the time of the accident was Dumas Gloomsbury. It says Soren was in the car too, and that he had sustained severe injuries. It's just like Pierce said. Soren completely changed after the incident.
Accident, rather.
Accident.
Newspaper article added to the court record.
A clipping of the newspaper article detailing the car accident that resulted in Selena Sprocket's death. So Gloomsbury was driving the car when they got into that accident. That opens up the distinct possibility
Of?
Soren holding a grudge against Gloomsbury.
You think Soren could have...
I don't know. It's not like I have any proof. We should talk to Pierce about this when we return Soren's notebook to him. Though he doesn't seem to be here right now. Maybe he's at the Flying Chapel. Oh boy.
Well, isn't he at the, a vehicular accident on March 8th led to the death of Soren's older sister. Soren was also in the car and suffered severe injuries. Gloomsbury had been the one driving.
Okay, I didn't know if we'd find anything else. Okay, we're gonna move, and I think we're gonna go back to the mooring dock.
Not too many places to go, but...
September 22nd, Sprocket Park, mooring dock. Sure hope Pierce is around here somewhere.
Ah, Mr. Wright and Miss Faye.
Hello, Pierce. We were just looking for you.
I'm sorry for Master Soren's sudden departure earlier. You have my sincerest apologies.
It was totally understandable, really, but shouldn't you be at his side right now?
It's fine. The other servants are with him, and I am in constant contact with them. Do not forget to give him his pain medication, and be sure to keep him hydrated. Also, see to it that he is not up and about. He needs complete bed rest.
Is this what happens when you're too rich for normal peasant phones?
I must return to Master Soren now, but did you want something of me?
Actually, here's Soren's notebook. He dropped it when he collapsed. I hope Pierce doesn't notice the blood stain.
Oh, thank you very much for this. I will see to it personally that Master Soren gets it back.
Thank you.
Soren's notebook given to Pierce. I trust you did not look inside.
Oh, of course not.
Because it is filled with numerous patent-worthy ideas, you see.
Look, I know you're busy, but would you mind if I asked you a few questions about the case?
Let's see. Well, as I said, I must be getting back to Master Soren. So if you could make it quick, I would greatly appreciate it.
All right, I'll make this as quick as I can.
Let's talk to him. The cover-up.
I'd like to ask you about the cover-up you tried to pull off, if you don't mind.
I told everything there is to tell in court already. Disposing of anything that may harm the Sprocket family's reputation is simply a part of my job.
Sounds like a lovely job description.
I have nothing more to say on the matter. I will say I do not think it's wise to spend time on topics that have already been discussed.
Right.
The accident.
Pierce, could you tell us more about this accident?
Where did you find that? And did I not already tell you about that accident?
You did, but you conveniently left out one crucial detail. The fact that Dumas Gloomsbury was driving the car at the time.
Oh? Did I not mention that? I suppose it simply did not come up then.
If Mr. Gloomsbury caused the accident, why didn't the Sprocket family fire him? Wouldn't that usually be the natural consequence of such a huge mistake?
Please do not misunderstand. Gloomsbury stayed on with the family. On Master Soren's request.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him, actually. What?
That is the type of person Master Soren is. Perhaps it was the influence of Miss Selena's kind nature. She was such a sweet person that even in her last moments, she thought of Master Soren.
Not only did Soren not hold a grudge against Gloomsbury, he insisted on keeping him on. No, I really don't understand how that guy's mind works.
Selena's last moments.
So you were present for Selena Sprocket's last moments?
Yes, in my professional capacity, the accident happened on the way to a certain party.
And what kind of a party was it?
It was Miss Selena's engagement party.
Oh, who was she getting married to?
Gloomsbury's injuries were minor, but Miss Selena's and Master Soren's were critical. They were brought to the Sprocket family's regular hospital.
Wow, have such a terrible thing happen on what was to be a day of celebration.
Thanks to the surgeon in charge, Master Soren pulled through. But Miss Selena, she... The last words Miss Selena said to me were... Please help Soren. Ever since then, I have attended Master Soren and tried to help him in any way I can.
I see. Selena's fiancé must have been devastated.
Indeed.
Was he it?
The shock of losing Miss Selena was so great, he quit being a surgeon.
He was a surgeon? Wait, so the surgeon who tried to save them both, was he?
Yes, he was Miss Selena's fiancé.
Oh, shit.
What a terrible tragedy.
How awful. So where is her fiancé now?
Good question. I wonder that sometimes myself.
So Selena had a fiancé. I'd like to find out more about him, but I doubt I'll find him anytime soon.
So, are we done here? I'm afraid I must be going.
Could you please just tell me a little more about Soren?
There is nothing more to tell.
I can't seem to get any real answers out of him just by asking him questions. But there is that piece of evidence I still don't know much about. Maybe he'll be able to tell me something about it.
The candelabra, maybe?
Pierce, have you ever seen this candelabra before?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Uh-oh, Cyclops!
Yes, looks like... Oh, boy.
My Magatama reacted. Pierce must be trying to hide something from me. I have to break those Cyclops and find out what.
Well, you know what time it is. Forfeit time!
1, 2, 3.
Forfeit time! Pierce's secret.
Pierce, you're hiding something from me about this candelabra, aren't you?
It is one of the candelabras from the Flying Chapel, is it not? Is there something special about it?
Actually, yes, there's some blood on it, you see. I think the blood might belong to this person.
Soren, maybe?
Take that!
Soren has a rather nasty wound on his body, doesn't he?
Yes, Master Soren is indeed injured.
Are any of the other people involved with this case injured?
Not as far as I know.
I see. Then let me ask you this, Pierce. Do you suppose Soren could have been more directly involved than you're letting on?
What in the world would make you think that?
Well, I've got my reasons. Mr. Gloomsbury's fingerprints were found on this candelabra's stem, which leads me to believe that Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed Soren with it.
You cannot possibly think Master Soren is the one responsible for the murder?
I don't have any conclusive evidence of that at the moment, but I do think he had a motive. This proves that Soren had a motive to kill Mr. Gloomsbury.
Take that!
Even though it was an accident, Mr. Gloomsbury was the man responsible for taking Soren's sister away.
Let us suppose that Gloomsbury did stab Master Soren with the candelabra. Can you prove that it had anything to do with this case? He might have been stabbed at some other location for some other reason.
Sorry, but I can prove it was related to this case.
Oh, really?
Soren's stabbing and Mr. Gloomsbury's death are definitely connected.
Are they now?
This is the piece of evidence that ties Soren's injury to Mr. Gloomsbury's murder.
A bloodstain on the lift.
A bloodstain was found on the side of the lift that goes between the hold and the Vista Deck. Its blood matches the blood that's on the candelabra. I obtained the results straight from the police, so I can assure you this information is correct. This bloodstain on the lift indicates an important fact. It shows us that Soren was there during the crime. Soren's blood is on the lift, which can only mean one thing. He was there, wasn't he? Soren was at the scene of the crime.
You are very astute, Mr. Wright. It appears I cannot hide this from you any longer. Very well. I will tell you everything. Unlock. Successful.
But I still think he was just trying to save his wife.
Here's the
What?
secret.
Could you tell me about Soren's injury?
Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Soren himself. As you surmised, Master Soren was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception. The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Soren went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That is when Master Soren was stabbed with the candelabra, he said. Even though Master Soren was badly injured, he went after Gloomsbury.
So Soren really was at the scene of the murder, wasn't he?
Yes, that is correct. However, by the time Master Soren arrived at the scene, Gloomsbury had already been murdered.
So Pierce is saying that Soren was at the crime scene, but that he didn't have anything to do with the murder itself. Even still, why did you try to keep such an important piece of information from me?
I'm very sorry. Master Soren's injury and Bloomsbury's murder were not directly related, so I decided not to mention it, so as not to unnecessarily complicate the investigation. Now then, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I really must be going now. Please excuse me.
Thank you for your time.
Pierce should have just told us everything in the first place and saved us a lot of time. Saved us all a lot of time.
Yeah, but I guess it isn't that simple for him. He is the family butler, after all. He sure didn't make our job any easier, though, did he? At least we learned something new. Soren was at the scene of the crime.
That's true. One step forward is better than none. So what next, Nick?
Let's see. The forensics team might be done investigating the reception hall by now. Let's go check it out.
Sounds like a plan. Here we go.
Let's see if there's nothing new.
No,
of course not. God damn it. So then the reception hall, right?
Yep.
Da-da-da-da-da-da, charge! September 22nd. Flying Chapel. Who's cleaning that window? Reception hall.
Oh.
Looks like the police are done with their investigation in here. I wonder if it's okay for us to take a look around now.
Oh, hi, Mr. Wright.
Hi, Emma. Would it be all right if we investigated in this room now?
Sure, the police are all done, so go for it. Oh, remember that broken lantern? I restored it to perfection. I have to say, it's some of my best work.
Sounds like the repair job was a resounding success. Thanks, Emma. We'll take a good look at it, too.
Well, after getting back to the station, try not to mess up the crime scene if you can help it.
We'll be careful.
I'll be seeing you.
Bye, Emma, and thank you.
Well, shall we get started?
All right, let's examine.
Yep, gotta examine every nook and cranny.
Nick!
What's wrong, Maya?
This hasn't moved an inch since the last time we looked at it.
It would be pretty creepy if it had. Look, we're in the middle of an important investigation, so try not to shout, okay?
I was just hoping it had changed somehow. You know, so it would be more interesting.
The last thing we need is for things to get more interesting.
Talk to that maid over there. No, you can't talk to her. Not yet. Oh.
What's this?
What's this?
Shiny thing. This is where the murder weapon, the timekeeper, was displayed. I guess it's in police custody now. Huh? What's this? A key?
Let's ask the maid about it.
Good idea. She might be able to tell us something. Excuse me, could I ask you a question?
Oh, of course. What would you like to know?
Do you know anything about this key?
It's the key that starts up the timekeeper.
A startup key?
That's right. Oh. The first startup of Love Ceremony was so beautiful. The bride and groom each had a symbol of their love, and when they put them together... Oh, how romantic it was.
Key of love added to the court record.
Heart-shaped key used to activate the timekeeper.
First startup of love ceremony? What exactly did that entail?
Oh, it's a ceremony in which the couple activated the timekeeper together for the first time. I suppose it was kind of like a cake-cutting ceremony.
And what are these symbols of their love you mentioned?
Well, it's kind of an industry secret, so I really can't say. I'm sorry, I'd better be getting back to my work.
Looks like there's an order from above, not to talk about it.
What's this? Hey, I think that tablecloth is new. They must have changed it since yesterday.
Huh? How can you tell?
Because the food stains that were there are now gone.
I should have known it's because it's food related.
What's this thing? It's another beautiful day outside, isn't it?
Yeah, if only it wasn't the scene of a murder, we could really enjoy it.
True.
Must be tough for the maids to have to work on a beautiful day like today.
Oh, we don't mind.
Whoa, I didn't think you could hear me way over here.
We don't think of it as simply cleaning. It's more like we're wiping away all the sadness stuck to this airship.
Well, talk about devoted. I guess we checked out everything of interest in this area.
So what about the fog machines? No, you already.
Well, there's nothing there, but there's the other machine.
There it is, right there. The lamp.
Here's the broken lantern all patched up. And I do mean patched.
Emma said this was some of her best work, so I know she put a lot of effort into it.
It was pretty smashed up. It must have been a lot of work to piece it back together. Well, she gets an A for effort at any rate. Huh? This wheel handle on the back has some blood on it. It looks like somebody gripped it with a bloody hand.
Maybe the blood got there when the killer was putting old Doom and Gloom's body inside.
Or he was the one that opened it. Whose blood is it?
Do you see anything else worth noting?
Well, there's another one of these lanterns over there. So it might be a good idea to really compare the two later. Broken lantern updated in the court record.
Lantern in which the victim's body was found. Emma restored it, but something about it still seems off. Now compare to the other lantern.
This is the unbroken Pegable lantern. And this is the one that Emma restored. I wouldn't say they look exactly the same, more that they're made up of the same parts.
Wait a minute.
What is it, Maya?
I think there's something off about this Pegable.
Just about everything about it looks off to me.
Oh, there's a different steering wheel. I'm not quite sure what it is, but some detail isn't quite right.
I thought the horns might be bigger too.
Show me the restored lantern again.
Oh, the horns are a little bit shorter. Hey, I know, it's this, right?
What? Where?
The thing about the restored lantern that's off is the...
Angle of the wings.
Oh. I've got it. The angle of that wing is different, and it's attached all wrong.
Well, duh, Nick. I could have told you that. I mean, there's something more subtle. Something that feels just slightly off. You know what I mean? Uh-oh.
No, not really. Still, maybe it's... The thing about the restored lantern that's off is the color of the wheel handle.
Yeah.
Look, it's the wheel handle. It's a different color altogether.
Oh.
Emma got the inside and outside wheel handles switched around.
Oh, wow, you're right. And there's blood here on this handle, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand.
Right, which means that the blood got on the handle from inside the lantern. Broken lantern updated in the court record.
The blood stain on the inside wheel handle, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. You think the blood got there when the killer was putting the body in the lantern?
It's really hard to say at this point.
Let's,
What does story mode tell us?
the exit doors.
Hey, take a look at that door. Wonder where it goes.
Shall we open it up and see?
Wait,
Wait, please don't open that. It's the emergency escape hatch. It leads directly outside. You'll fall to your death.
whew, that was a close one, huh, Maya?
I'll say. Oh, wait a minute.
How did I not see that before? Whew.
Because it was blocked by a partition.
Oh, that's right. Well, I think we checked out everything relevant to this case.
What are you two doing here?
Wait, what are you doing here? Well, what are you two doing here? Soren, shouldn't you be resting in bed? You're injured. How do you know about that? Never mind. My notebook. Have you seen my notebook? I can't find it anywhere. My notebook. I need my notebook. What's the matter with him? My notebook. I have to have...
Master Soren. Master Soren, I told you to stay in bed.
My notebook.
Here you go.
Something's missing. Yes, this is it. So Soren gets emotionally unstable with that notebook without that notebook of his? Looks like he's calmed down now. Soren, do you mind if I talk to you for a minute?
I cannot allow you to do that. What if his wound were to open up again? He needs to rest.
Guess you're right.
Now, if you will excuse us. Master Soren, let us retire.
All right. But he's going to be looking in that notebook, something's going to be missing.
There they go.
Pierce is right. I guess he really isn't in any condition to be questioned. Well, let's go back to the agency and sort through what we've learned.
Back to the office then. The Wright Anything agency.
Yep, I know. I'm just like, where's the button? September 22nd. Wright Anything agency. We're back. Anybody here?
Oh, hi, boss.
Athena? I thought you were with Trucy.
I guess you could say that I'm taking a short break. But enough about me. What about the investigation? Did you find out anything?
Well, it turns out that the third person Ellen says she saw at the crime scene might have been Soren Sprocket.
What? Really? I always thought these seemed suspicious.
Thing is, by the time Soren got to the Vista Deck, the murder had already occurred, apparently.
No way! I don't buy that! Not for a second! It's a cover-up! A cover-up, I tell you!
That's certainly a possibility. And as a lawyer, it's certainly a possibility I have to pursue. But
But what? It's your job, right? So pursue the heck out of it. Just do it!
yeah, but is that really what's best for Ellen?
Soren could be found guilty if the truth comes out tomorrow. But if we don't pursue this possibility, Ellen could be found guilty instead.
Oh, man. Either way, it sure doesn't spell out happily ever after for the two of them.
Well, you know, there could be another way around this.
So what are you gonna do, Mr. Wright?
I can't let an innocent person get convicted. So I guess all I can really do is pursue the truth, even if it ends up devastating Ellen.
What a tough call to make.
Still, there's always a chance, right? Maybe something will come up during the trial that will save their marriage.
I hope so. I really do. Well, Maya, let's go.
Break the news to Ellen, you mean?
Yup.
Mr. Wright, please take me with you. I bet I can help you counsel Ellen through this piece of bad news.
Athena, I appreciate the offer, but don't you have somewhere else to be?
Do I?
Oh, boy.
Athena, what are you doing here? I've been looking all over for you. Come on now, let's get back to practicing. No, wait. My body can't take it anymore. Boss, you gotta help me.
A lawyer always keeps their promises, Athena.
Boss! If you bail on me one more time, Athena, I'm gonna use a real blade on you. Ah!
Sorry, Athena, but somebody's got to do it. Better you than me, though. Hang in there, kiddo. Come on, Maya, we'd better get going.
Oh, for Pete's... Man.
Oh, man. This is gonna suck. September 22nd. Detention Center. Visitors Room. Hello, Ellen.
How did your investigation go, Mr. Wright?
Before I answer that, I need to ask you something. Was Soren with you when Mr. Gloomsbury attacked you in the reception hall?
I'm sorry I kept it from you. I was afraid that he'd come under suspicion if I told you. So I kept quiet about it. I'm really sorry.
I see. I thought it was probably something like that. Listen, Ellen. I'm afraid I had to make a very difficult decision based on what I found out.
What kind of decision?
This is very hard for me to say, but the mysterious person you saw at the scene of the crime was most likely Soren.
What?
In other words, in court tomorrow, I'm afraid I'll have to propose the possibility that Soren is the true culprit.
No. Soren is innocent. No.
But don't you see, if I don't try to pursue that line of thought, you'll be found guilty.
No. No.
Please, Ellen, calm down.
Soren just can't be found guilty. I'd much rather I be found guilty instead.
Ellen, you can't let yourself think like that.
But, no!
Marriage is for life, right? Do you really think you can run away from the truth and still be truly happy with him?
You're not married, so how can you possibly understand? Sometimes you just gotta do whatever it takes to make things work.
But, Nick, you talk to her.
Hey, don't just dump this all on me.
Mr. Wright, I'm innocent, and Soren is too. So please, prove our innocence in court.
I'll certainly do everything in my power. I just hope she doesn't lose control like this in court tomorrow. Oh, God. To be continued.
I mean, Pierce Nichody has to be the guy, right?
He's gotta be.
So how the hell are we gonna prove that? Well, only one way to find out. Let's continue this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. September 23rd, 8:50 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3.
So the one thing we found out yesterday is that Soren was there at the crime scene. I only hope I can get some testimony from him that'll get to the heart of the matter.
Mr. Wright.
Good morning, Ellen. Look, I'm afraid you might not like the result of today's trial. Nevertheless...
Don't tell me you're still thinking of going that route. Soren is innocent. He can't be found guilty. Take me instead.
Ellen, please try and get a hold of yourself.
I believe in Soren with all my heart. So how dare you doubt him?
Regardless of which one of them is found guilty today, it's gonna be devastating for Ellen, isn't it?
We'll just have to do everything we can. That's the best we can do, you know? The trial is about to begin, Mr. Wright. All right, let's go, Maya.
Yeah.
No, there's a third. There's somebody else. We'll find out. September 23rd, 9 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 6.
Here we go. Day 2. Court is now in session. All rise. Court is back in session for the trial of Ellen Wyatt.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Let's see now. Where were we? In yesterday's session, we found out about the Sprocket family's conspiracy to cover up the murder of Dumas Gloomsbury with a second reception. Taking advantage of our collective shock, the defense, as usual, made a nonsensical claim, namely, that there was a third person present who struck the victim.
Objection!
Objection! Hey, don't try to make it sound like I've made it all up. The defendant herself made a statement about the existence of a third person, and further investigation has only proven her statement to be true.
Then I presume the defense intends to focus on proving the identity of this third person. Is that all right with you, Mr. Edgeworth? Indeed, Your Honor. In fact, I predict that the defense will, most likely, attempt to make Mr. Soren Sprocket as the true culprit.
How did you...
The driver during the accident that killed Mr. Sprocket's sister was the victim. Therefore, Mr. Sprocket had a motive to murder Mr. Gloomsbury. That's what you plan to assert, is it not, Mr. Wright?
Am I that transparent?
Come now, Mr. Wright. Did you really think the police wouldn't uncover this information?
Congrats on getting it in one, Mr. Edgeworth.
Held it! But... You're wrong! Soren didn't do it! He's innocent!
Miss Wyatt, please!
He's innocent, I tell you!
What is this, Mr. Wright? I thought your claim about the existence of a third person came from the defendant.
It did. This is just a minor hiccup.
Did you not discuss your strategy for today with the defendant, Mr. Wright?
Starting off on the wrong foot again is seriously cutting into my lifespan.
It would appear that the defense is in disarray. Therefore, the best way to clear things up is to ask Mr. Sprocket himself what happened. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Soren Sprocket to the stand.
What?
Very well. Bailiff, please bring Mr. Sprocket to the witness stand.
The halfway point's gonna come when Athena comes back to help this guy.
Boy, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Witness, please state your name and occupation. What? No way. He's not gonna do that. Oh. There's something written on this paper airplane. Let's see. Soren Sprocket, Managing Director of Sprocket Aviation. Mr. Sprocket, please give your answers in words, not paper airplanes. Now then, Mr. Sprocket, please tell that doubting lawyer there what really happened at the time of the crime. Well, Mr. Sprocket? Mr. Sprocket!
All right. You want me to talk about what happened when the crime occurred? In other words, after the first wedding reception, when Ellen and I were in the reception hall, right? Not even the power of the court can stop him from marching to the beat of his own drum.
Okay then, time for a little witness testimony. What Soren remembers.
I was stabbed by Dumas in the reception hall and I collapsed on the floor. The next thing I saw was Ellen and Dumas on the Vista Deck. I knew Ellen was in danger, so I headed for the Vista Deck. When I got there, Dumas was already... I don't want to believe it, but it must have been Ellen. Nothing else makes sense. Oh, he's nervous about something. Well, wait just a minute here. You actually think Ms. Wyatt killed the victim? That's right. Dumas was killed by Ellen. But this is unbelievable. How can you suspect your bride, the woman you love?
Objection!
Objection! The truth can be cruel. Ms. Wyatt, you must be very upset. Is there anything else you wish to say?
No, I can't believe this. Sorry. I thought that at least you would believe in me.
The best way now to show your love for your groom is to admit your guilt and try to atone.
Soren.
Hold it! Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, I haven't even cross-examined the witness yet. And quit picking on the clearly distraught.
Yeah, that's so not cool, Mr. Edgeworth. A court is where we seek the truth, and the truth is unyielding, even to the truly pitiful. Mr. Edgeworth, I find it distasteful to make a lady cry. It too, Your Honor. So what are you gonna do, Nick?
If the third person Ellen saw on the Vista Deck was Soren, then we have to prove Soren was there at the time of the murder. I don't see any obvious inconsistencies in his testimony, but we have to push forward. There's something else going on, dude.
Hey, cross-examination time. What Soren remembers? What story am I telling us?
I was startled by Dumas in the reception hall, and I collapsed to the floor. The next thing I saw was Ellen and Dumas on the Vista Deck. I knew Ellen was in danger, so I headed for the Vista Deck. But when I got there, Dumas was already...
Hold it!
Hold it! Are you absolutely sure, Mr. Sprocket, that by the time you got to the Vista Deck, the murder had already been committed? Yes. But the Vista Deck is just on the other side of the glass windows in the reception hall. Shouldn't you have been able to get there right away?
Objection!
Objection! Mr. Wright, have you investigated nothing? The only way to the Vista Deck is to go to the hold and take the lift. No matter how much one hurries, it would take at least 10 minutes.
Well, that's unhelpful. But Soren had to have gotten there before the murder, or my claim won't stand. Do you have any ideas for me, Maya?
It's definitely easier to prove that someone did go to the hold than not. I mean, you can't leave anything if you don't go someplace, right?
Can't leave anything? Wait a minute. I think Maya is onto something here. The lack of a certain something actually proves that Soren didn't go to the hold.
What's the matter? Are you stumped already?
No, I'm far from stumped, Mr. Edgeworth. Ugh. I know for a fact that Mr. Sprocket didn't go to the hold.
You and your paper-thin bluffs. Mr. Sprocket's bloodstain on the lift proves he went through the hold. So what possible proof could you have that he did not, in fact, go through there?
You want proof? You got it. You can do this, Phoenix. There's gotta be proof that Soren didn't go through the hold.
Well, Mr. Wright,
This proves that Mr. Sprocket didn't go through the hold.
it had to have been the bloodstain on the lift or something. I don't know. Is it? The hold entry record.
As anyone can see from the hold entry record, there's absolutely no mention of Soren Sprocket entering the hold. The defense asserts that Mr. Sprocket used a different route to get to the Vista Deck.
You can assert all you want, Mr. Wright, but can you actually prove another route exists?
Can I prove the existence of another route to the Vista Deck, you ask? I can. I can prove it. Even if it's just a bluff, I have to present something, anything that could prove the existence of a faster route to the Vista Deck.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. Show us how Mr. Sprocket got to the Vista Deck.
Mr. Sprocket made for the Vista Deck through here. The emergency
chute.
exit door. To save his bride from danger, Mr. Sprocket opened the escape hatch and made his way alongside the wall to the Vista Deck.
Along the outside wall.
Let me try that again. Opened the escape hatch and made his way along the outside wall to the Vista Deck. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket?
That would certainly be a much faster route to the Vista Deck.
Objection!
Objection! I'm disappointed, Mr. Wright. Is that really the best you can muster? That escape hatch is not meant to be used to get from the reception hall to the Vista Deck. One slip, and that's all it would take for Mr. Sprocket to plunge to his death. I have to agree. The defense's claim is really stretching it.
Hold it! Hold it! I understand how it sounds, Your Honor. But at this point, it's too early to definitively say that he didn't go that way.
So that's what you're going with then, I take it?
Of course, Your Honor.
This is real life, Mr. Wright, not some cinematic drivel or comic book. Do you have some sort of logical explanation to share that would convince us of your claim?
I do.
Are you sure, Nick?
Kind of. Actually, I have nothing. So I'll just have to wing it somehow.
On what do you base your theory that Mr. Sprocket made his way along the outside?
My theory that he was able to go along the outside wall, despite the danger, is based on the power of love. To save the bride he loves, the groom risked his life and rushed to her side. Mr. Sprocket was able to make it to the Vista Deck despite the danger because of the power of love.
The power of love? That love is a source of strength that can help one overcome any obstacle. I think I can relate thanks to my own long, happy marriage.
Wow, he actually seems to be buying it.
Objection! The power of love, you say? That kind of a logical argument is hardly viable in a court of law. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? I'm afraid not, Mr. Edgeworth. You should never underestimate the power of love. You'll understand one day when you get married, which I won't. Exactly what is so wrong with wishing to remain unwed?
Way to set him off, Your Honor.
Never mind all this unscientific nonsense. Are you aware, Mr. Wright, that at the time of the crime, there was a huge propeller turning at full speed between the hatch and the Vista Deck? Even if a person were to go outside through the hatch, they'd be blown away in an instant. Where does your power of love get you now, Mr. Wright? A huge spinning propeller, you say? In that case, I have to admit, it does seem impossible.
I should have known.
Nick, you can't make that kind of face in front of your client. The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles, right?
Right. I feel like I just saw Mia looking out at me through Maya's eyes.
What's wrong, Nick? Why are you gaping at me like a giant sunfish?
Thank you, Maya. You just helped me remember something really important.
There it is. There's that fearless smile I was looking for. Now give us a mind-blowing theory, just like you always do.
I have to turn my thinking around. Instead of wondering how Soren could have moved past that huge propeller, I have to think about what would have made it possible for him to do so.
Your Honor, Mr. Wright only makes that ridiculous face when his back is pressed against the wall. Therefore, please do hurry and give your...
Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, it's still far too early to discount my theory.
What are you talking about? The airship's large spinning propellers have already shredded it to pieces.
But if we think a little more outside the box, I'm sure we can find a way he could have made it.
Stop trying to stall, Mr. Wright, and show us how it could have been even remotely possible, if at all. I must agree with Mr. Edgeworth.
Very well, Your Honor. There must have been a way. Some way that Soren could have moved along the wall in spite of the propeller.
Now then, Mr. Wright, what specifically would have made it possible?
This is how it would have been possible for Mr. Sprocket to get to the Vista Deck.
The airship wasn't flying.
Yeah, of course. What allowed Mr. Sprocket to go along the outside wall in spite of the propellers is the location of the flying chapel at the time of the crime.
The location of the flying chapel, but wasn't it flying high in the sky?
No, Your Honor, I'm afraid it wasn't.
What? Then where was it?
At the time of the murder, the airship wasn't flying through the sky, but moored to the ground.
What?
And if the airship wasn't flying, then that means the propellers weren't turning. In which case, Mr. Sprocket could have gotten to the Vista Deck along the outside wall. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? I don't remember. Oh, he stabbed himself with his pencil. That's gonna leave a mark.
Objection!
Objection! Even if the propellers weren't turning, it would have been far too risky to go that way.
Ah, but Mr. Edgeworth, you're forgetting about the power of love.
Yes, the amazing power of love. Not this again. Very well. For the sake of argument, let's assume this so-called power of love made it possible for Mr. Sprocket to move along the outside wall of the airship. Can you prove that the airship was tied to the ground as you claim, Mr. Wright?
Well, I don't have any evidence that proves where the airship was at the time.
You can prove it, can't you?
Maya, can you think of anything we can use to prove it?
Can't say I can. Oh, wait! Didn't somebody see something outside a window at the time of the crime? I think I remember someone saying as much.
Do I have a piece of evidence that shows what was outside the airship?
Well, what are you waiting for?
This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the crime.
The drawing.
Now we're gonna get to the pink meat of the matter. Take that! This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the murder.
What kind of lousy drawing is that?
It's a drawing made by Larry Butz.
And what can you prove with that poor attempt at artistry?
Larry made this drawing before he switched the lanterns, so it must have been right around when the murder was being committed. Now, if I could direct the court's attention here.
Is that a pterodactyl? Does that mean that the airship actually went back in time to the Cretaceous period?
Objection!
Objection! We've already proven that time travel is nothing more than a gimmick, did we not?
We did, and I have no intention of bringing up that argument again. But this drawing shows us an important piece of information. It shows us that the airship was actually moored on the ground.
And what makes you so sure?
That's easy. All you have to do is consider who made this drawing.
Larry.
That's right. It was Mr. Butz, and we both know what he's like. He must have seen something else and mistaken it for a pterodactyl.
I can't argue with you there. Hold it! Hey, wait just one doggone second here. What kind of moron do you guys take me for? I saw it with my own eyes. A pterodactyl flew right by the window, I tell you. I have the sharp eyes of an artist. Don't you believe me? No. Ick!
Nope.
Some friends you guys are. What about the judge? You believe me, right, Your Honor? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you need to leave this courtroom. Bailiff, if you would.
Come on, buddy, let's go.
Why doesn't anybody believe me?
Don't take it personally, Larry. You're just being, well, you.
Now then, so you're saying that what Mr. Butz really saw bears some relation to what was outside the airship at the time of the murder?
Yes, Your Honor. At least I think it does. What this pterodactyl really is will prove the airship was anchored at the mooring dock. It better anyway. If this doesn't, my whole argument is a bust.
If you're that confident about it, then please go ahead and tell us what it really was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Aha!
Think, Phoenix, what could that pterodactyl actually have been?
The map.
Man, I was waiting for this.
Take that!
Please take a good look at this sign.
At the sign? It appears to have been broken and then repaired. But what does the sign have to do with the pterodactyl?
Please focus on this part of the sign.
The part that broke off and got reattached? What about it?
How about if we turn it like this?
Oh, that shape! It's the pterodactyl in the drawing!
What Mr. Butz actually saw was this chunk as it was being blown through the air by wind.
What?
Well, it explains that at least. On the day of the murder, there was some heavy winds in the area of the mooring dock, but it's hard to imagine that this sign would make it up as high as an airship would fly. That means the flying chapel must have been anchored at the mooring dock that night. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? Nah.
Objection!
Objection! That's more than enough of this power of love nonsense, you pop culture junkie. Present all the proof you want, but your argument is based far too much in conjecture. Why don't we return to reality now?
What do you mean, too much conjecture?
Even if the airship wasn't flying, that alone doesn't prove the witness went along the wall. True, even now it's no more than a possibility.
And how do you propose Mr. Sprocket got out to the Vista Deck, Mr. Edgeworth?
I noticed something as I went over the evidence. Please take a look at this hold entry record.
What about it? I don't see Mr. Sprocket listed on here anywhere.
Don't you remember? In yesterday's session, we had a very similar kind of argument.
Did we?
Honestly, Mr. Wright, are you going senile already? We talked about Larry Butz using the defendant's key card to enter the hold.
Oh, we did talk about that, didn't we?
In other words, even if a person's name isn't on the entry record, it's still possible for that person to have entered by using someone else's card. Mr. Sprocket, you entered the hole with Mr. Nichody, didn't you?
I did. What? Why didn't you tell us that in the first place? Pierce is indispensable. I didn't want to mention him unnecessarily and risk having him wrongly accused. I couldn't do without him.
Mr. Sprocket, I ask that you testify in greater detail about your movements that night. Okay, here we go. Time for another witness testimony. The truth.
The truth is, I went to the Vista Deck with Pierce. That's why my name doesn't appear on the hold entry record. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. By the time we reached the scene, it was all over. Well, this doesn't help me one bit.
Mr. Sprocket, you've concealed information from us time and time again. Who do you think you are, treating this court of law with such irreverence? That being said, I do appreciate the testimony you gave just now. Thanks to you, we now know why your name doesn't appear on the entry record. Now, there are no more inconsistencies in the witness's testimony. That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. He never leaves a loose end dangling. You okay, Nick?
I wouldn't exactly call this situation okay. Somehow I'll have to coax the information we need for an opening out of him. If I even can, that is.
Looks like we'll have to grill him or
You're
something.
gonna have to grill him like a hamburger.
Cross-examination time. The truth.
The truth is, I went to the Vista Deck with Pierce.
What do you think?
Hold it! You didn't mention this because you didn't want Mr. Nichody to fall under suspicion? Is that because he has something to hide? I just didn't want the police to take up his time with all their questions, that's all. Neither the company nor the household would function smoothly without him. I see. Wow, it sounds like Pierce is absolutely indispensable to the Sprockets. Anyway, getting back to your statement, when did you meet up with Mr. Nichody? We met up on my way to the Vista Deck. I think Pierce and some of my relatives were on another floor, but Pierce heard the commotion and came running to my aid. He could hear the pandemonium all the way from another floor?
Mr. Wright, would you like the current statement added to the witness testimony?
I would say have it added. Yes, please, Your Honor.
Very well. So what story more telling us?
Pierce heard the commotion, and he came running. That's why my name doesn't appear on the hold entry record. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. Hold it! Hold it! Speaking of your injury, how are you doing now? The knife wound is deep and continues to throb with pain. Fortunately, my internal organs were spared, but one wrong move would have spelled the end for me there. Even so, I've seen you up and about all over the place since the incident. I'm only following my doctor's orders to perform some daily light exercises.
Mr. Wright, would you like Mr. Sprocket's statement about his condition added to his testimony? Not that it appears especially relevant to me.
Should I have him added to his testimony? Have it added. Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have it added to his testimony.
I see. Very well.
The knife wound is quite deep and continues to throb with pain.
Oh, knife wound?
Hang on, wait a minute. No.
He was stabbed with a candelabra, right?
Objection!
Objection! Mr. Sprocket, you just said your injury is a knife wound, didn't you? But the weapon you were stabbed with was this candelabra, a fact I know you're quite aware of.
Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Soren himself. As you surmised, Master Soren was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception. The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Soren went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That is when Master Soren was stabbed with the candelabra, he said.
Objection!
Objection! It must have been a simple memory slip that made him misspeak. It happens to everyone. It has nothing to do with the case. You must be pretty desperate to point out something so minute. I have to agree, Mr. Wright. You hardly need to make such a big deal over such a small mistake.
But I contend that it's an important inconsistency. Besides, I couldn't find anything else. This is the only thing I have to go after.
And I say it's not important. Now let's not waste any more time on this matter. I agree. Everybody has a little memory lapse every now and then.
Hold it! Hold it! But Your Honor, please let me explain.
But can you? Can you really explain to this court what makes this slip so important?
Yes, I can, Your Honor. After all, Soren himself who told Pierce that he'd been stabbed by a candelabra. This is more than a simple memory slip. There has to be some kind of reason for it.
Well, Mr. Wright, please explain why the witness's slip of the tongue is so important.
The point to focus on here is why the witness would mistake the weapon used to stab him. And carefully, Phoenix, it could very well change the course of the trial.
I see. So why did the witness make that mistake, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Sprocket identified the wrong weapon used against him because
He's covering for someone.
he has to be. He has no memory of it. He doesn't remember the incident, let alone the weapon used against him. Not only that, but I believe Mr. Sprocket has some sort of memory disorder.
Oh, the accident.
Therefore, the defense contends that Mr. Sprocket's testimony thus far is invalid.
Objection!
Objection. Huh. Just because you can't find a flaw in his testimony, you want to throw it all out? Your baseless claim is nothing but pure slander of the witness's character. Mr. Edgeworth is correct, Mr. Wright. Can you explain your grounds for making this claim?
Of course, Your Honor. Think of what Soren has said, how he's behaved. That's where I'll find a clue.
Very well, let's hear your arguments then.
He has a short-term memory disorder, I think.
Yeah.
That's why he has to take meticulous notes of everything. My grounds for claiming that Mr. Sprocket has a memory disorder is his notebook. The notebook he always has with him. I saw daily events and information about the people around him recorded in it.
Like a diary, perhaps.
No, Your Honor. It's much too detailed to be an ordinary diary. It's more on the order of a database, actually.
A database, you say?
That's right. For some reason, Mr. Sprocket is apparently unable to retain memories. That's why he writes every little detail of his life down in his notebook.
Objection! How could you possibly know that for sure? He might just be an extremely compulsive person.
I thought so too myself, at first. To be honest, we accidentally got a stain on that notebook yesterday.
You mean you got a stain? You mean you got a stain on it?
Hey, you're the one who tried to grab it out of my...
Objection! Never mind whose fault it was. Just get to the point already.
Right. Sorry. Mr. Sprocket. The page Ms. Fay got a stain on yesterday, that's the page with the details of your stabbing on it, isn't it? No, I only write in this notebook because I'm very compulsive. Now drop the subject already. Sorry, but I'm not convinced. I noticed an odd fact about your notebook, Mr. Sprocket. On the earlier pages, you used it to write down invention ideas. But after a certain date, you started writing down a lot more, and in much more detail. I believe your memory disorder stems from what happened on that date.
Something so monumental it caused a memory disorder, Mr. Wright.
You don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about, and this is the proof. This is the thing that caused Mr. Sprocket's memory disorder.
The car accident.
Take that!
You were involved in this car accident too, weren't you, Mr. Sprocket? And the shock of losing your beloved older sister is what caused you to develop your memory disorder.
Is this true, Mr. Sprocket? Well, is it?
Mr. Sprocket! It's true. That accident did something to my mind.
What?
Ever since that day, every time I go to sleep, I lose my memories. When I wake up, the most recent thing I can remember is the day I lost my sister. It's as if I'm constantly going back in time.
What?
Now that's why it's called Turnabout Time Traveler. 51st dates! Holy shit.
That's truly tragic. An inconsolable time traveler who goes back in time whenever he goes to sleep.
Besides, time travelers do exist, you know, but you wouldn't understand. So that's what Soren meant. He was talking about himself. The reactions of people around me each time I awoke made me aware of my condition. That's why I decided to write everything down in my notebook so I could move forward. So the only memories you have since that day are the ones written in that notebook? That's right. And since the page about your stabbing got stained, you couldn't read from it, could you? There's just one more thing I'd like you to clarify for me, Mr. Sprocket. Exactly what are your feelings toward the victim?
Mr. Sprocket's feelings toward Dumas Gloomsbury?
That's right, Your Honor. The witness said that every time he wakes up from sleep, his mind goes back to the day his sister died.
Mr. Wright, You can't mean...
Mr. Sprocket! Your pent-up feelings of anger and resentment toward Mr. Gloomsbury for the accident were renewed each and every time you woke, were they not? But you couldn't take it anymore, so you turned to murder. Isn't that right?
What? Mr. Wright, are you saying that the witness murdered Mr. Gloomsbury for revenge? Ugh.
Well, Mr. Sprocket?
Hold it!
It has to be.
Has to be her. Miss Wyatt!
Your Honor, I did it. I killed Mr. Gloomsbury.
No!
What?
Oh,
She can't! She can't do this!
no! Miss Wyatt, what are you trying to do?
Don't tell me you're still thinking of carrying that route. Soren is innocent. He can't be found guilty. Take me instead.
Ellen, please, try and get a hold of yourself. I guess she really meant it.
My Soren didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one who should be convicted.
Are we to understand that you're confessing your guilt?
No, no, no! Now wait just a minute here. Held it. Ellen, why would you cover for me? After I testified that I thought you must have killed him.
I'll admit, I couldn't believe my ears at first. But all I want is for you to be happy. Your happiness is my happiness, Soren.
But without my notebook, I'd even forget those feelings of yours by tomorrow. Knowing that, do you still feel this way?
You loved me all this time, the same way you did before the accident. That's how I know that you're the same person I've always loved. No disorder can change that.
Ellen. Your Honor, there are two things I'd like to correct.
2 corrections? What are they?
First of all, I want to withdraw one of my statements. That's right. Dumas was killed by Ellen.
Uh-huh.
Without memories to rely on, I took the police completely at their word.
You can't be serious! So that means Soren never really doubted Ellen in the first place, did he, Nick?
Ellen really does love Soren with all her heart. In order to save her, I'll still have to go after Soren. I hope you can forgive me, Ellen.
And what is your other correction, Mr. Sprocket?
The truth is, I never felt anger or resentment towards Dumas about my sister. What? Why not? That's because the one who caused the car accident was me.
Huh?
What? What?
Order! Order in the court! Please continue, Mr. Sprocket.
I'm the one who killed my sister. To protect my career and my future, my father made Dumas take the blame in exchange for money and the position of lead servant.
Newspaper article updated in the court record.
Soren was the one driving.
What?
Oh, Jesus. So you see, Dumas must have held a grudge against me, not the other way around. And he must have attacked Ellen to get his revenge on me. Are you sure about all of this, Mr. Sprocket? Very sure. It's all been written down in detail in my notebook.
That notebook is important evidence supplying background to this case.
And you want to know what? It's going to be missing. And I think I know who did it.
I must insist you submit it as evidence.
Soren's notebook added to the court record.
It is a notebook that chronicles the events of each day in minute detail.
The lawyer said I had turned to murder, but that's just not true. However, it is true that my older sister and Demar are both dead because of me and my negligence.
I just glanced through Mr. Sprocket's notebook. I wasn't able to read the part about when he was stabbed due to the bloodstain, but what's written here about his sister's car accident is exactly as he stated. Your Honor, as long as it matches what's written in that notebook, can we still take the witness's testimony as valid in spite of his memory disorder? Yes, I believe we can. I understand now that the witness's memory is in disarray. But if what Mr. Sprocket himself wrote in this notebook is true, then that means by the time Mr. Sprocket's party reached the scene, the victim had already been killed.
Edgeworth's right. I'm still in the same bind as before. Should I really simply accept the contents of the notebook as a substitute for Soren's memory?
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think? Will you accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as an official representation of his memories?
Will I accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as an official representation of his memories? No. Wait a minute, Your Honor. The defense requests a chance to examine the notebook to see if it's trustworthy.
Very well, but be quick about it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So how should we examine it?
Well, we should look at it from all different angles to see if there's anything suspicious. Fingerprints.
Here we go.
There's no point if I don't look at what's inside. I have to open it. With your permission, Soren, here I go. Yikes! Oh, it's just the page Maya got all stained. But I guess it's not going to be very helpful at this moment. I'll keep going.
Uh-oh.
This is the last page where there's writing. Something about this page doesn't sit right with me. I better take a closer look.
The page is ripped.
Huh? A page has been torn out, and it looks like there was something written on it.
Uh-oh. I mean, wait a minute.
It looks like a page has been torn out here. Mr. Sprocket, do you know what was written on it? Oh, that? I often tear out a page when I write somebody a note. I probably wrote something down for somebody, tore it out, and gave it to them.
Oh my, that note, remember?
Oh, yeah.
That solves that.
Objection! Wait a minute! We can't ignore the possibility that something important was written on that page.
But now that the page has been torn out, how can we determine what was written there?
Well, let's see. To find out what was written in the notebook, we should use fingerprint powder, I guess. If we use fingerprint powder on the notebook, we might be able to see what was written.
Fingerprint powder? How would that help us find out what was written there?
Well, if the writing left indentations on the blank page behind it, fingerprint powder could make those small indentations visible to the naked eye.
Oh, stop. Fingerprint powder would only sully the notebook further. Mr. Wright, if you use the powder and still don't find anything, then you must accept the notebook as a representation of the witness's memories.
All right, Your Honor, I understand.
I don't find anything. It's all over anyway. Powder don't fail me now.
I will now use fingerprint powder on the blank page to find out if we can see what was written on the torn out page.
Oh boy, here we go.
First I'll apply some fingerprint powder to these pages with the crossbow. When I've dusted enough powder, I'll use blow to blow the excess powder away. If something should appear, I should switch to analyze mode, point to what came up, then confirm my choice.
Uh-oh. Let's see. Dumas. Let's see. So, Dumas took Ellen to the Vista Deck. Go down. Down there. Dumas took Ellen to the... I struck and killed Dumas.
Oh, shit.
Who was that? What else is the story telling us?
Looks like I didn't get quite enough fingerprint powder on the page. Guess I better dust on it a little more. It says, I struck and killed Dumas.
This is huge!
That's a confession. I struck and killed Dumas. That's what was written on the torn out page.
What? It can't be!
Hold it! I don't believe it! There has to be some kind of mistake! Thorne would never, could never...
She fainted.
Ms. Wyatt!
Bailiff, please get the defendant to the infirmary at once. Get a medic over here!
Move!
Apparently, the defendant got too worked up. She's resting in the infirmary as we speak. Now then, please continue, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. This notebook is all Mr. Sprocket has to remember things by. With this critical page torn out, not even Mr. Sprocket himself knew the truth of what he'd done. No, I don't buy it for a second. I'm the one who killed Dumas? So it wasn't Ellen. Oh, thank goodness. Mr. Sprocket, does this mean you were at the crime scene during the murder after all? I guess it must have been. Soren's notebook updated in the court record.
Notebook that records Soren's memories in minute detail. One of the pages has been torn out.
But Mr. Sprocket, can we really believe what's written in this notebook? Nobody touches this notebook but me, and when I sleep, it's under lock and key. I don't remember writing that I killed Dumas, but I guess I must have.
Well, now that we have a confession, I'm afraid I must render my verdict.
Of all the... Yes, Your Honor. Please give your ruling now while Ellen is asleep. I want the woman I love to be set free as soon as possible.
Soren really does love Ellen after all, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So this is how it ends. But is that how it really went down? Is there really no way for them both to be happy?
I know we should consider anything written in the notebook to be the truth, but still.
I myself wrote of the crime in my notebook. No further proof is necessary.
Soren himself wrote it in his notebook? Wait a minute.
Very well. I will now give my verdict.
Ellen is about to be found not guilty, and Soren will be convicted of the crime instead. Yet, am I really ready for the judge to give his ruling?
Hell no!
No, not when there's still one more avenue left to explore.
This court finds the defendant, Ellen Wyatt.
Hold it! Your Honor, there's still something that bothers me about that notebook.
Oh, is there? What are you doing, Mr. Wright? All you have to do is keep quiet and your client is a free woman.
I know, but I think there might be more to this case than meets the eye.
I'm not quite sure yet, but I think there still might be a way. A way for Ellen and Soren to be happy.
What do you mean by more than meets the eye, Mr. Wright?
I believe the question here, Your Honor, should be, why was the incriminating page torn out in the first place?
Why, to destroy the evidence, I would imagine.
But removing it from the notebook is the same as removing it from Mr. Sprocket's memory, which means he wouldn't have been able to trick the police if he came under suspicion. No, if he wanted to cover up his crime, he would have to remember that he had done it.
Just what are you getting at with this line of inquiry, Mr. Wright? Yes, please explain it so that we can all understand.
Yes, Your Honor. The page was torn out of the notebook because somebody else tore it out. The incriminating page was torn out by somebody else.
What?
Oh, somebody else? This is madness.
I think I know who that is.
Yep.
Order! Order in the court. Order! Are you claiming a third person interfered with the notebook?
It's not all that surprising if you consider what's happened up until now. After both the car accident and the murder of DeMar Gloomsbury, there was always a cover-up not far behind. Held it. But I had my notebook with me at all times. Did you? Because I remember you were in a panic yesterday because you couldn't find it. That's true.
So who orchestrated this particular cover-up, Mr. Wright?
If we think back over the course of the trial, it's pretty easy to guess.
The one who may have tried to tamper with Soren's memories is...
The butler.
1, 2, 3. Take that! The one who tampered with the notebook in order to manipulate Mr. Sprocket's memory is Pierce Nichody. Pierce? Pierce tried to tamper with my memories? Pierce was manipulating me? Case in point, the 2 receptions that were held to cover up the murder. It was Mr. Nichody who directed the guests and orchestrated the entire scheme. No, it can't be. Which of my memories are mine and which have been rewritten? When did he start rewriting my memories? Who wrote this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And this? Ah! Uh-oh. Lift off! He literally took off!
Ah! What?
Will somebody get him down for crying out loud?
Look, Nick, he's coming back down. Wow.
My memories. Ellen. Mr. Sprocket!
Bailiff, please get Mr. Sprocket to the infirmary on the double. Get a medic over here. Mr. Sprocket has been taken to the infirmary. We don't have to worry about him running away, so let us resume where we left off.
Your Honor, the defense would like to call Pierce Nichody to the stand.
Objection! We already know he carried out the cover-up to protect the company and Mr. Sprocket. What more do you want from him?
This time it's different. The notebook, or rather Mr. Sprocket's memories, have been tampered with. That means the only person who knows the whole truth is now Mr. Nichody.
Don't tell me. Are you actually trying to drum up a third suspect in order to exonerate the defendant and her groom?
I'm not drumming up anything, nor do I have grounds to accuse him of anything. Yet. All I know is that Mr. Nichody is the only one who knows the truth.
And I still think he's hiding something. Something we don't know about yet.
No grounds yet, is it? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution consent to calling the witness to the stand? It does, Your Honor. However, I would like a little time to talk with the witness before we do. Very well. We will break for a 20-minute recess.
All right. Oh, we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this. The final act.
Gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, me too. So we'll go ahead and save this, and then we're going to take a short break. You got to save, because you never know. And we'll be back.
Commencing operation in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. And we just took a very short break, and we're ready to move forward. And we are ready to put the hammer down on justice on the true culprit. We're really going to get to the bottom of this case. We're so excited to bring this to its final conclusion. So, live scene, secrets unveiled. Continue on. September 23rd, District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3.
Now we'll have to face Pierce on the stand. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not. One thing's for sure, he won't be an easy adversary.
So, do you think Pierce did it?
Too early to say anything at this point, but I do think he's still hiding something.
Nick! Why didn't you pin everything on Soren Loser back there?
Looks like Larry still hasn't given up on Ellen.
This Pierce guy's a real bad guy, and Soren and my Ellie will live happily ever after together.
Larry, that's not the kind of thing a decent human being says.
Shame on you, Larry. Oh, boo-hoo. You think I don't know how I have to give up on my Ellie? But Nick, promise you'll make her happy. She deserves a happily ever after.
I'm sure Soren will make her happy once all of this is said and done.
The trial is about to resume, Mr. Wright. All right. You ready, Maya?
Yep, let's go. I'll be rooting for you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Larry. Jeez. September 23rd, District Court, courtroom number 6.
All right, here we go. This court is now back in session. Witness, please take the stand. Yeah, not to waste any time. Please state your name and occupation. My name is Pierce Nichody. I am the Sprockets family butler.
Let's get straight to the point, Mr. Nichody. Someone tore out a page from Mr. Sprocket's notebook to manipulate his memories. And that person was you, wasn't it?
That is correct. What about it?
Well, that was easy.
So why did you do it? Why did you tamper with Mr. Sprocket's notebook?
Please allow me to explain. It pains me to do this, but I will tell you the truth.
It pains you?
That is correct. For my testimony would go against Master Soren's wishes.
Soren's wishes? What is he talking about?
Oh boy.
Well, you're gonna time for a little witness testimony. Why I tore out the page. I rushed to the Vista Deck, but the crime had already been committed. I saw Miss Ellen and Gloomsbury collapse and Master Soren writing in his notebook. Master Soren said to me, I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen. But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook and hid the body.
Wait a second. What Mr. Sprocket was writing in his notebook at the time, could it be?
It was meant to be a confession, an admission he'd killed Gloomsbury himself.
He wrote that message to take the blame from Ms. Wyatt?
That is correct. Master Soren did hit Gloomsbury with the timekeeper to save Miss Ellen.
Then Mr. Sprocket was the culprit after all.
However, that blow did not kill Gloomsbury. That makes sense. Mr. Sprocket's injury wouldn't allow him to put much force into it. Enraged, Gloomsbury tried to attack Master Soren, who was already seriously wounded. But just in the nick of time, Miss Ellen hit Gloomsbury from behind and finished him off, it would seem. So the one who inflicted the fatal blow was the defendant? Yes, That is correct.
Bullshit, she was passed out.
But Master Soren trying to take all the blame onto himself. No way! This is pretty bad, Nick.
No kidding.
Pretty bad is an understatement.
Well, Mr. Wright. It seems your decision to call for Mr. Nichody has backfired. For the true culprit behind this case remains the defendant, Ellen Wyatt.
Could this get any worse? Pierce was involved in the cover-up plot, and I bet he still has something to hide.
All right, then. Let's tear this guy apart.
Cross-examination time. Why I tore out the page.
I rushed to the Vista Deck, but the crime had already been committed. I saw Miss Ellen and Gloomsbury collapsed and Master Soren writing in his notebook. Master Soren said to me, "I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen." But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook and hid the body.
Hold it! Mr. Nichody, could you please tell this court about that in more detail?
That, you say? Which part do you mean, Mr. Wright? Could you be more specific?
Oh, all right.
What part do I want to know more about?
Hiding the body or something, I don't know.
I would say tearing out the page, but what is story mode to hiding the body, of course. Please tell me more about the hiding of the body.
Very well. After saying you would take the blame, Master Soren passed out. That's when I hid the body. I quickly took the lift down to the hold, where I hid Gloomsbury's still warm body in a spare Pegable lantern.
So it was you who hid the body, not the defendant.
To think Mr. Butz would move the lantern containing the body to the reception hall, well, I did not see that coming.
I don't blame you. Not even Larry can predict what Larry will do next. Maybe I should take another look at the lantern and evidence.
Oh, let's see. There's a bloodstain on the wheel. Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness testimony?
Add the testimony. Yes, please.
Very well. Please add that statement to your testimony, Mr. Nichody. In the hold, I hid the still warm body in the spare Pegable lantern. It had to have been. Is this somebody gripped it with a bloody hand?
Objection!
Could it be? Is that what happened? If what I'm thinking is true, maybe I can prove neither Ellen nor Soren did the deed.
Mr. Nichody, you said the body was still warm when you hid it, correct? So then what if Mr. Gloomsbury was still alive when you went to put his body inside the lantern?
What? What? That's preposterous!
Actually, this shows that the victim might have still been alive while inside the lantern.
I'm afraid you'll have to point out which part you're talking about, Mr. Wright.
This part here shows that the victim might have still have been alive inside the lantern.
The wheel.
Of course.
Take that!
As you can see, the back end of the lantern is a door, and there's blood here on the wheel handle.
Objection! That bloodstain must have gotten there when the witness put the body inside the lantern. It in no way shows that the victim drew his last breath while he was within the lantern.
I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth, for you see, in putting this lantern back together, the police inadvertently placed the inside handle on the outside and vice versa. In other words, the wheel handles got swapped.
Oh my! So they got swapped?
Yes, they got swapped.
What? But that's ridiculous!
Not at all. If you compare the other male Pegable lantern in the reception hall, it's quite obvious the wheel handles were attached backwards.
The detective in charge of the restoration will see me in my office later.
Sorry, Emma, and good luck.
In that case, what does the bloodstain on the wheel handle mean?
The bloodstain didn't get there by chance. When the victim was put inside the lantern, he was only unconscious, not dead. When he regained consciousness, he probably tried to get out of the lantern. So he grasped the inner wheel handle, and that's when the blood got on it. This proves that the victim was still alive when he was inside the lantern.
At the time, I was completely convinced Gloomsbury was dead. Had I checked more carefully, he might have survived. Unfortunate to be sure, but not significant enough to change this trial's outcome.
Again, I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. It actually has a very significant impact on this case.
The victim was struck by the defendant and then died from his injuries sometime later. There's nothing more to it.
Objection! That's where you're wrong. Let's take another look at Mr. Gloomsbury's autopsy report, shall we? Time of death, September. Please focus on the description of his injuries. Cerebral hemorrhage from a strong blow to the head. One contusion was found on the back of the head and one on the side. The blows were caused by the same weapon. It says one contusion was found on the back of the head and one on the side.
Yes, the one Mr. Sprocket gave him and the one Miss Wyatt delivered to finish him off.
No, the defense would like to submit a different interpretation.
Different interpretation?
The victim was knocked unconscious by the first blow and was then put into the lantern.
Then what about the lethal blow by the defendant that the witness talked about?
Yes, well, that didn't happen. After some time, when the victim regained consciousness and tried to get out of the lantern, that's when he received the second blow that finished him off.
Taking into account the fact that the victim was alive for a period after the first hit, and that he did receive a second blow to the head, it does seem entirely possible.
Yes, as long as the first blow didn't kill the victim instantly, then there's a possibility that someone other than Mr. Sprocket or Ms. Wyatt delivered the fatal blow.
Objection! That's all you've got? Even if there was a time lag between the two blows, the prosecution's position doesn't change.
What? What do you mean?
It's elementary, Mr. Wright. After the reception, when the defendant was cleaning up the reception hall, the victim, who was supposed to be dead, suddenly came out of the lantern. The defendant grabbed the murder weapon, which was right there, and finished him off. That theory sounds awfully familiar. Of course it does, Your Honor, because it's exactly what I proposed at the very start. The second blow was inflicted by the defendant after all. Now, I see. It seems a tangle of mysteries is unraveled into a single thread.
Objection! But as long as there's a possibility that the fatal blow was delivered by a third person, then we must continue the deliberations.
Give it up, Mr. Wright, unless you have something to prove the presence of your precious third person. Okay, Nick, just relax. You can do this. Come on now, take some deep breaths.
Good idea. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
There. Don't you feel better already?
Maya is right. I should calm down, get my focus back, and go over everything again. And then hopefully I'll be able to find something to prove there was a third person.
Let's see. First, why did Gloomsbury attack Ellen?
Because he was tired of taking the blame for the accident?
But something about that line of reasoning just doesn't feel quite right to me.
No? How come?
Well, if it's just a personal vendetta, he had already stabbed Soren. So why then was he so determined to go after Ellen?
You're right. This whole thing feels too premeditated for a crime of passion.
But Gloomsbury didn't seem to have a personal grudge against Ellen.
If Gloomsbury didn't have a personal reason to attack Ellen, then...
You've taken long enough, Mr. Wright. Now it's time for some action. What proof do you have that the third person was involved?
All right, I'll show you.
Not completely sure what I'm doing yet, but it looks like I'm out of time.
This piece of evidence proves the involvement of a third person.
Take that! Have the note.
I get it now. Now I see why this note bothered me so much when I first saw it.
It looks like a note outlining the murder plot.
That note was apparently written by the victim.
But why would he feel the need to write instructions to himself like this? Your Honor, please take a look at this note.
This is the victim's murder plan, right?
It's definitely a murder plan, but what if Mr. Gloomsbury didn't write this note himself?
What? This is how you intend to conjure up your mysterious third party, Mr. Wright? Can you even prove that note wasn't written by the victim?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Very well then, please present your evidence, Mr. Wright.
This evidence proves the victim didn't write the note. Because he's left-handed. Remember?
Yes.
Take that!
This is the weapon Mr. Gloomsbury used to stab Mr. Sprocket.
I was wondering what you'd pull out this time. Dare I ask what that could possibly have to do with the note?
Mr. Gloomsbury's prints were found on this candelabra, and the prints were from his left hand.
So, that makes the victim left-handed, correct?
Exactly, Your Honor. The police looked into it too and confirmed as much. Now, take a look at the smudged writing in this note. Notice how the smudging only starts from the middle of each preceding line. Had this been written by a lefty, the writing would be smudged from the far left end. This means that whoever wrote this note was definitely right-handed. In other words, somebody other than the victim wrote this note.
What? But if someone other than Mr. Gloomsbury wrote it, then what does this note mean?
Mr. Gloomsbury followed this note to the letter when he attacked Miss Wyatt. So clearly this note isn't a murder plan written by Mr. Gloomsbury, but rather, these are instructions to kill Miss Wyatt issued by somebody else.
Objection! If it wasn't the victim who wrote these so-called instructions, then who wrote it? Most of the people involved are right-handed, you know. He is correct. The majority of the family and their employees who were on the airship are indeed right-handed. I must say, that is a very rough and slipshod conjecture you've proposed.
I admit I haven't figured out who wrote it just yet.
Leave it to Mr. Edgeworth to go for the jugular.
This culprit who ordered Gloomsbury to attack Ellen, what could their motive have been?
It doesn't seem very likely Ellen did anything to incur anybody's wrath, right?
Hang on a second. Right.
Not too likely, anyway.
In that case, it has to be about Soren.
If somebody were to hold a grudge against Soren, what would it be about?
That accident, I'd guess. I could understand if Gloomsbury felt resentful about having to take the blame.
But the one who lost the most to that accident was Soren's sister. She lost her life, after all. Soren suffered too, of course. He was crushed by losing somebody so precious to him.
Somebody precious, huh? Soren's sister. Wait! There's one more person. There's someone else who must hold a grudge against Soren.
Did you figure something out?
I think so. I think that somebody else used Gloomsbury to try and get revenge against Soren.
Did you say somebody tried to get revenge against Mr. Sprocket, Mr. Wright?
The person who manipulated and used Mr. Gloomsbury was Soren's father or Selena's fiancé. Uh-oh. I think I know where we're going with this. The person who used Mr. Gloomsbury to try and get revenge on Mr. Sprocket and then finished Mr. Gloomsbury off to silence him was a man dear to Mr. Sprocket's older sister, Selena Sprocket's fiancé.
Not that I'm positive, but I'm certainly possible. It's certainly possible this fiancé could have made Gloomsbury attack Ellen to get his revenge on Soren.
What? Her fiancé? I think I know who that is.
He's standing in the witness stand right now.
Oh, yeah. Order! Order in the court! Order, I say! Yes, it does seem quite believable that Miss Selena Sprocket's fiancé would bear a grudge against Mr. Sprocket for his role in the accident.
Exactly, Your Honor. Maybe her fiancé was trying to murder Ms. Wyatt in order to make Mr. Sprocket experience the same pain he'd felt.
Objection! Miss Sprocket's fiancé was a surgeon, if memory serves, but the only people who attended the reception were family and staff members.
That may be, but then that just means that Mr. Sprocket's fiancé...
Ms. Sprocket's...
That may be, but then that just means that Ms. Sprocket's fiancé must have been among those who attended.
What? Really?
Of course. Otherwise, how could he have killed Gloomsbury?
Oh, I see what you're doing. This is just another giant bluff, isn't it? All right, I'll bite. Who exactly do you claim this fiancé to be? Yes, I would like to know as well. Are you sure you're gonna be okay, Nick?
Maybe.
When it comes to suspicious people, there's only one person on my list. I need to find something that connects him to Selena.
This will help us identify Mr. Sprocket's fiancé.
It would have to be the pocket watch or something.
Or the photo itself.
Take that!
Please take a look at this photo, Your Honor.
That photo.
Notice Ms. Sprocket's pocket watch. Haven't we seen it somewhere before?
Yes, now that you mention it, I do feel as if I've seen it somewhere before.
I believe we've all seen it. Right here in this very courtroom.
Impossible!
That's right. The pocket watch in this photo is the same pocket watch Mr. Nichody has on him right now.
What?
This is clear proof of a strong connection between Pierce Nichody and Selena Sprocket.
No. Well, Mr. Nichody, is this true?
Mr. Nichody, you were once engaged to Selena Sprocket. That pocket watch, you keep it as a memento of her, don't you? Mr. Nichody, you plan to rob Mr. Sprocket of his loved one to make him feel the same pain as you. Isn't that right? But Mr. Sprocket managed to fight back and knocked Mr. Gloomsbury unconscious. You thought Mr. Gloomsbury was dead and hid his body in the lantern. But then you noticed Mr. Gloomsbury regained consciousness. And so you finished him off to prevent your plan from being exposed. This is the defense's take on what really happened in this murder case.
Mr. Wright, does this mean you wish to officially accuse this witness of the murder of Dumas Gloomsbury? Oh, we're getting to it.
Does the defense accuse Mr. Nichody of the murder?
Yes.
Don't accuse.
Wait, if I back down now, it's all over. I have to take the plunge and chase this down to the very end.
The defense indicts Pierce Nichody on the charge of murdering Dumas Gloomsbury.
Oh my! Mr. Nichody, would you care to respond? Man, this lawyer just yaps on and on and on. As you guessed, this watch is a memento of Selena. It stopped working at the time of the accident, though.
Then you really are.
Yes, I was Selena's fiancé, and not just her fiancé, but the surgeon beside her deathbed.
Objection!
Objection! Mr. Nichody, why didn't you tell me any of this before? Shut it, you useless prosecutor. I thought you could be of use, but apparently this case was too much for you. What did you say? If your office hadn't stuck its nose all up in this, I could have swept it under the rug. Not only did you interfere with the case, but you even let me fall under suspicion. That's because you kept trying to cover things up on the sly.
But covering things up wasn't your only involvement. The only person who had a motive to use the victim to try and kill Ms. Wyatt was you!
Yeah. Malignant tumors. There are malignant tumors in this courtroom. Lesions oozing with false charges. The tumors are on one idiotic lawyer and one useless prosecutor. After the truth is revealed, I will have the both of you incised for the legal world. I'd like to see you try. With the power of the Sprockets family, it'd be a cinch! I will now begin the operation. What in the world happened to Mr. Nichody?
Looks like he's finally showing his true colors.
Nick, look what he did to that shoulder neck. Quit your yapping before I suture your chatty lips shut. It's like he's a completely different person.
Sure looks like it, huh? We can't let our guards down now. Mr. Nichody, it's finally time for you to testify to the truth.
It seems we're entering the final act at last. Witness, your testimony, please. All right, here we go. Witness testimony. Right to remain silent. Oh, no, you're not going to say anything.
Mr. Nichody, why didn't you say anything? Ah! He just took a picture of me, or something.
You want me to voluntarily testify, hoping I will make a slip of the tongue? Not a very impressive plan, or brain, I might add.
Oh, that was uncalled for.
If you want to know something, you ask the question. I will answer, but I have no intention of making any involuntary statements of my own.
Nah.
What's he trying to do, Nick?
He's using a silent treatment as a strategy to avoid getting tripped up. Clever guy.
No more lies, Mr. Nichody. You will tell us nothing but the truth from now on. What do you think you're doing? No one asked you to speak. Just keep quiet over there and play with your frills. How dare you? Well, this is a rather unconventional situation, but please proceed, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Cross-examination time. I think you should grill him like a hamburger, but let's see what story mode says.
Hold it! Hold it!
If he won't speak voluntarily, I guess I'll have to ask him something. What question
Should I ask?
Actions
On the day of the crime. On the day of the incident, you were constantly surrounded by your subordinates. Is that right?
Absolutely. I was in someone's line of sight at all times. After all, I was busy taking care of every detail of the event. Mr. Edgeworth, I believe your investigation backs up my claim. I got statements that said groups of his subordinates worked with him in rotation, so he was always with someone. As the prosecutor just said, I couldn't even get close to the lantern containing Gloomsbury by myself, let alone kill him.
Pierce didn't have a chance to get close to the victim alone, huh?
Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness's testimony?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have that statement added to his testimony.
Very well. I was always in the company of others. I didn't have an opportunity to murder Gloomsbury. What do you think, Nick? Is there a chance for us here?
Well, as long as you have some kind of testimony for him, there has to be. I'll just have to compare his testimony against the evidence, and...
Find an inconsistency, right?
Exactly.
This is it. Have to do this right.
All right, so let's get to that third statement. I was always in the company of others. I didn't have an opportunity to murder Gloomsbury. Oh, yes, you did.
Objection!
Objection!
He was in the photo.
Mr. Nichody testifies that he was always with someone at the time of the incident and never had a moment alone to commit the crime.
Yes, and the police investigation backs that statement up, doesn't it?
But there was an opportunity, in fact, one and only one. A moment when Mr. Nichody could have killed Mr. Gloomsbury without anyone noticing.
What?
And the one thing that made that moment possible is shown here in this photograph.
Hold it! With all those people watching, I couldn't have possibly committed murder. Do not believe him, Your Honor. This lawyer is a malignant tumor. He wants to infect this judicial body with virtual accusations. Objection. Mr. Nichody, I would ask that you keep quiet this time. We need to evaluate the defense's claim, and your yammering only serves to throw further suspicion your way. Mr. Wright, let's see this one thing you mentioned, but be warned. This had better not be one of your offhanded claims.
Who do you think you're talking to, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please point out for us the one thing that made the moment of the murder possible.
That one moment when it was possible for Mr. Nichody to kill Mr. Gloomsbury? The one thing that made that single moment possible is this.
It's up there, the fog machine.
Take that!
Yep. The one thing that made the moment of the murder possible is this thick mood fog that engulfed the entire reception hall. It is under the cover of this fog that Mr. Nichody murdered the victim.
What?
Mr. Nichody was standing right next to the lantern that Mr. Gloomsbury was in. This was the only moment the murder could have been committed without being seen.
Objection! I can accept that there was a moment when the witness was obscured from others by fog. But that doesn't prove Mr. Nichody killed the victim at that very moment. If you can't prove the crime was committed during the reception, the trial ends here.
I was so caught up in finding a foothold that I forgot to think that far ahead.
Well done, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time to call this trial's time of death. Well, Mr. Wright, can you prove the murder happened during the reception? Don't even bother! His claim is dead on arrival! Victory was in your grasp, prosecutor! Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can only arrive at through further deliberation.
Edgeworth.
Enough of this! Your Honor, this trial is over! No, Mr. Nichody, that is for me to decide. Mr. Wright, can you prove it? Can you prove that the murder was committed during the wedding reception? Why is it no verdict yet? The lawyers obviously out of answers! The prosecutor, the judge, they're all infected! The malignant sympathy is so advanced, not even the best surgeons can save them! In fact, not even a brain transplant could cure them! This court is infected with idiocy! It's a pandemic!
Objection!
Objection! Mr. Nichody, that's enough already.
Finally ready to give up, are you?
No, just the opposite, actually. I'll prove the murder was committed during the reception by you.
You'll prove it? Can you really, Mr. Wright?
Yes, I can, Your Honor.
To be honest, I don't know exactly how I'll do it just yet. If I want to get to the truth Edgeworth was talking about, I'll just have to find that way.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Let's have your proof.
Enough of this foolishness! He's just bluffing! Stop him from speaking, Your Honor!
I will do nothing of the sort.
You are just a district court judge with the power of the Sprocket family!
Enough of your foolishness, Mr. Nichody. This judicial body will not succumb to the influence of money or power. Now then, let's hear it, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your truth.
Think, Phoenix. Remember everything you've learned so far. You can do this. You can find the definitive evidence that will lead us to the truth.
Well, time to revisualize.
We're in the home stretch, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Hey,
Think, Phoenix. How can I prove the murder took place during the wedding reception? If Pierce committed a murder during the reception, then he had to have used
the murder weapon.
He used the murder weapon.
Right, because it was the same weapon.
Yes, the weapon that was used to strike the victim twice. According to the autopsy report, the victim was hit by the same object both times. So without a doubt, Pierce used it to commit the murder. The weapon used to kill Bloomsbury was
The timekeeper.
The timekeeper was the murder weapon. Of course.
If Pierce struck the victim during that one single moment, he must have used the timekeeper. Come to think of it, wasn't it also used for something else during the reception? During the reception, the timekeeper was also forced to do the first startup of love.
Oh, here's our conclusion.
The timekeeper had been activated.
Oh,
That's right! The timekeeper had been activated during the reception. If we activate the timekeeper again now and find any trace of evidence of the murder, that would be conclusive proof that Gloomsbury was killed during the reception.
all right, Phoenix, finish it.
A special ceremony took place during the reception in question.
What kind of a special ceremony?
It was called the first startup of love. Apparently, the couple activated the timekeeper for the first time during it.
Does that mean the timekeeper here in evidence isn't activated at the moment? And what would happen if we were to activate it?
Why don't we see for ourselves? It would give us a chance to examine it, and while we're at it, we just might find some conclusive evidence.
What? No, you can't activate it! Mr. Nichody, keep quiet or I'll have you thrown out of court. Ugh. By the way, Mr. Wright, this is supposed to be a time machine, right? We aren't going to travel back in time to the Stone Age or anything, are we?
I don't think we have to worry too much about that, Your Honor.
I'm still a little nervous nonetheless, but the truth must be known. Very well, go ahead and start up the timekeeper.
You know how, Nick? I think so. Maybe.
Remember the key.
The bride and groom had each had a symbol of their love, and when they put them together, oh, how romantic it was.
Let's see. I think the symbol of the groom's love must be the timekeeper itself. What symbol of the bride's love would fit together with the timekeeper?
Oh, I know, that has to be it.
Mr. Wright, are you ready to activate the time machine now?
Yes, Your Honor. The symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the timekeeper is
The key of love.
Take that. Once we set this in place, we can activate the timekeeper.
Oh, that's not it. It's set it in place where? It doesn't look like it fits anywhere.
You don't think so? Not even if we kind of jammed it in?
Mr. Wright, you know what's coming, don't you?
A penalty, Your Honor?
I'm glad you understand. That will save us some time.
All right, I better take another good look at what I've got to work with.
The symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the timekeeper is the pendant. Ms. Wyatt's pendant is the symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the timekeeper.
What? Then does that mean you could start it up with Ms. Wyatt's pendant?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Very well. Please try it now, Mr. Wright.
Okay, here I go.
First, I have to figure out where the pendant goes.
It has to go
It probably has to go.
here. See that missing spot right there?
This hole looks like a good spot. I'll try setting the pendant in here.
Oh,
It fits. This must be the right spot. Now I have to find a place to insert the key.
yes. Look on the other side. Sorry. No.
Hold on.
Let me think. It has to be
Here, zoom in.
in there.
Where?
In the middle of the cube, in the middle of the pendant. Could it be?
Maybe. This hole in the middle of the pendant. Could this be it? Yep.
Oh. Oh! There it is.
Ding, ding, ding. It worked. The timekeeper's been activated. Now all I have to do is find proof that the crime was committed during the reception.
Right there.
I think I found it. Conclusive evidence that the murder was committed during the wedding reception.
Just as I suspected. There's evidence of the murder inside the timekeeper, Mr. Nichody. The timekeeper was only activated and opened during the wedding reception, right?
No! Stop!
So that means this is conclusive proof that the crime was committed during the reception. After you killed the victim under the cover of fog, you closed the timekeeper to hide the bloodstain, didn't you? Timekeeper updated in the court record.
The activated timekeeper. It's obvious this was that it was in this state when it was used on the victim. No, you're wrong. Evan killed Bloomsbury. It wasn't me, I tell you.
Objection!
Objection. Ha! Give it up, Mr. Nichody. How could the defendant, who was in the middle of pledging her love, have possibly committed the murder with everyone watching her? It was the family. Yes, all the family members conspired together to kill him.
Objection!
Objection! There's no way you can talk your way out of this, Mr. Nichody. During the reception, during that one dreamlike moment, only one person could have used the timekeeper to beat the victim to death. And that one person was you, Pierce Nichody.
No, this isn't over yet. I won't give up. Oh no, I cut the artery. This stupid thing. You must stop the bleeding now. Give me forceps. Forceps, I said. Hey, where is everyone? Fine, I'll manage this alone. I'll do it all by myself. I can fix anything, repair anything. So you have to get better. You have to live. You must. I wouldn't have been able to save her. If only I hadn't listened to her. If only I had treated her first. If only that Soren hadn't been there. Oh, Selena. No. Oh. Witness, are you finally ready to tell us the truth? It's just as the lawyer deduced.
So it was all a revenge scheme against Soren Sprocket.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to lose someone you love right in front of you? Selena's condition was clearly more critical than Soren's, but in spite of that, she said, "Please help Soren."
Ms. Sprocket's last words. So
That's what she really meant by those words.
I was able to grant her wish, but at the price of her life.
So you got a job with Sprocket Aviation and waited for your chance to get revenge. You got close to Mr. Gloomsbury and hatched this plot. Is that right?
Gloomsbury already bore a grudge against Soren, so when I tempted him with an even better position, he immediately took the bait. He was your accomplice, someone who shared the same goal as you. Why was it necessary for you to kill him? I didn't expect someone to strike Gloomsbury out on the Vista Deck, and I certainly never imagined he'd make this his way there along the outside wall.
Soren's love is the real deal after all.
My plan had been compromised, so for the time being, I hid his body in the lantern and tried to think of my next move.
And then Mr. Gloomsbury came to during a second wedding reception.
As soon as I saw Gloomsbury, I instantly hit upon an idea to pin the blame of Gloomsbury's murder on Ellen. You tried to break up the couple by making the bride out to be a murderer. How despicable. Soren was getting the company and a wedding, both things that were supposed to be Selena's. He took every happiness from her. Who's the despicable one here? Do you think what you did would make her happy? I know it wouldn't, but I couldn't just stand by watching Soren enjoy his happiness. I was going to have Soren taste the same pain I had, and then take over Sprocket Aviation. I would take back from him all of the happiness that was rightfully Selena's. Time stopped for me the day I lost her, just like this pocket watch of hers.
Hold it. Pierce,
Ms. Wyatt.
I believe Selena would have said, leave this ill will behind. Your time is yours to live.
It's too late for me. Time will never advance for me ever again. What? It can't be.
The watch is going.
What? I see now, Selena. What I did was wrong. I see no further need to continue this trial. Bailiff, please take Mr. Nichody away.
Pierce Nichody, another inconsolable time traveler who lived in time that stood still.
Pierce Nichody, you're under arrest. Now then, I must render my verdict regarding the defendant.
Your Honor, before you give your ruling, would you please allow me a moment?
Very well.
Ellen, there's something I need to say to you.
Uh-oh. Yes, Soren?
I've put you through something truly horrible. This whole thing happened all because of me. I would understand if you wanted to call off our marriage.
What? Of course not. I've never once thought that.
If you stay with me, you'll only face even more trying times in the future.
What do you mean?
The truth of this incident and the car accident before it. I'm going to tell the public everything. I expect the company's reputation will suffer, and I'll take a lot of criticism. But I feel I can only really start over once I get everything out in the open.
Sorry.
After all that's happened, I might not have the right to ask you this, but... Well, how should I say this? Maybe I'll just write a note.
No.
A life with me probably won't be very easy, but will you marry me?
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course.
How about that?
Your Honor, thank you for this time. Please continue with your ruling.
Very well. But first, I have one question. Do the two of you pledge your eternal love for each other to the goddess of justice, Themis?
I do, Your Honor.
I do.
Does the prosecution or the defense have any objections?
God damn it, you better not.
Well done, Your Honor. No objections here.
The defense has no objections either, Your Honor.
This court finds the defendant, Ellen Wyatt. Oh, that's not right. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Sprocket. We got two words for you. Not guilty! Ellen Wyatt. Ellen Sprocket. Ellen Sprocket.
Let's go!
This court is adjourned. Ugh, 4 words we thought we'd never hear.
Man,
I got
We
6
did it.
viewers here. This is impressive. A lot of people watching this.
September 23rd, 11:36 a.m. District Court. Defendant lobby number 3.
Well, that was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah. Ellen, Soren, congratulations.
Mr. Wright, I can't thank you enough. If you hadn't exposed the truth, Soren and I wouldn't. We wouldn't.
But now you can finally start your new life together, right?
Oh, thank you!
Mr. Wright, we'll be holding our real wedding ceremony in the near future. Would you do us the honor of coming to it? I want you to witness our fresh start. Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And Ellen, this time, it'll finally be happily ever after, right?
Oh, yes.
The two of you have persevered and overcome this trial together. Now, no matter what obstacles come in your way, I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. And there's another thing I'm sure of, too. This person will always be watching over the two of you.
Who might that be? This? Oh, yeah, Selena.
Take that!
Selena? Yes, I think you're right. And we promise to live life to the fullest for Selena's sake, too. Right, Soren?
That's right. Well, we'd better be on our way.
Yes, my love.
Wow, the old threshold carry, huh? Way to show off. We'll be seeing you. Goodbye for now. I'll be looking forward to that wedding. Hold on tight, Ellen.
You better believe I will. I'm never letting you go.
Oh, shit.
Hope the roof is open.
There they go.
You're not thinking of going to that wedding by yourself, are you, boss?
Whoa. You're taking us too, right?
Oh, boy! I bet there's gonna be all kinds of fancy food there.
Athena, when did you get here?
Just now. I would have been here to cheer you guys on earlier, but Trucy never gave me a chance to slip away.
You're gonna be even bigger trouble with her later.
Joshua Dunn, hi.
Hey, just in time for the very, very end. Speaking of the wedding,
Speaking of the wedding, maybe I should ask them to invite Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth? Really? But he thought Ellen was guilty all the way to the end.
That may be true, but
Don't even bother. His claim is dead on arrival. Victory is within your grasp, prosecutor. Ha! Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can only arrive at through further deliberation. That's right.
If he hadn't stood up for us when he did, the trial probably would have ended there.
Hey, thanks for the subscribe, my man. You are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Hey, check out our archives. You'll love them. Seriously.
Yep, check out all of our playlists, and we'll update them as soon as this one's over.
You mean Mr. Edgeworth gave us that chance?
Maybe. Though knowing him, I doubt he'd ever tell, even if I asked.
Well, if that's how you feel about it, Nick, then why not try to get him invited?
Hey, Maya, have you ever tried to catch the bouquet?
What? No.
I never have either. Fighting over a bouquet that's been tossed by the bride. Talk about a fierce competition. I'm totally stoked.
I'm not sure it's really supposed to be all that competitive.
I'm a pretty good jumper, so I think I got a chance.
She's definitely missing the point of the whole thing.
Larry, how did you manage to stay so quiet?
It's good to be supportive to your channel. Oh, of course it is, man. No matter how little you give, man, I always appreciate it. Shut up! Wishing a lady you fell in love with every happiness is what a real man does.
I'm pretty sure that relationship was over before it even began, Larry.
Darn it all. Boy, I was 10 years younger. Things would have gone differently. Hands of time. Why would you turn back for me?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
September 30th, 9:20 a.m. Sprocket Park, mooring dock.
Looks like the day of the wedding.
Today is Ellen and Soren's third wedding ceremony and reception. I heard the bride and groom insisted it be on the Flying Chapel again. In the end, they were nice enough to invite me and Maya, and Athena kind of invited herself. They also invited Edgeworth, Emma, and even Larry. They say third time's the charm, right? I really do hope it's a happily ever after for them this time around. Still, I get the feeling it's going to be one rowdy party.
You betcha. Time for a little cutscene.
Poof.
Ready when you are. Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh. Hey. Oh, no. If you want to shout
Larry
out, let me know.
Butz.
Oh, hey! Look who's next! Huh?
Nope. Oh. Here comes. You better run.
Haven't you ever heard of ladies' first?
I'm truly blessed to have you.
What a wonderful ending. You betcha.
Fiend!
Yep, that's the end of that case and the end of the game.
And the end of the Apollo Justice trilogy.
That's right.
Man, that's... Okay. So, obviously...
We're just gonna boogie on out of here.
Wow.
So do we need a shout out or not really?
Well, absolutely we're going to shout him out.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, everyone, for your support tonight and throughout this season of voice acting.
That's right.
Yep, and I'm saying that to everybody. What am I talking about?
Thank you everyone for your support tonight and throughout this season of voice acting.
Yep, that closes the books on season 13 of voice acting. You can check out all 12 of the other seasons and this one in the playlists section of our YouTube channel. And you can also check out our Nostalgic Mondays archive, which has just started, but it'll grow, trust me.
And don't forget to tune into other streams Tuesday through Friday exclusively on Twitch and Facebook. I do voice acting for fun too. Hey, could we have this guy on our team perhaps?
Maybe.
Well, maybe.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We'll have to get him. We'll have to get to know him first.
Sure, but I'll tell you what. Go check out our archives. Have fun with it, and then we will look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. What's the date? I'm terrible with dates.
It's going to be September 23rd.
September 23rd. at around 8 p.m. or so, we will have the season premiere, season 14 of voice acting with part 1 of the Ace Attorney Investigations collection.
That's right.
So, until that day, and tomorrow is going to be Nostalgic Mondays. Just tune in Monday afternoon. I mean, look out for the post on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
That is where you'll be able to catch up with all of our content and when we'll be going live.
Don't forget, tomorrow I will be streaming Jet Force Gemini. See if that's any good.
Oh, yeah. You better bring a bucket of popcorn for that.
And feel free to make any kind of request that you want to make. Just leave a comment on the Steel Twins Gaming page on Facebook.
Yep. Or leave any comment on our videos in the archives or wherever you want. Because any feedback is good feedback. So, until we meet again, I am the Cannonball Alex Steele.
I am the Package Andrew Steele.
We are the Steele Brothers.
And we are for real. Top Guys out.
Ciao!
Neat is right. Adios, muchacho.